Yes.
These places do you think are just schemes for money washing?
That's a very good question. What the heck is a moonshine? Yeah? Because moonshine is supposed to be illegal distilling of alcohol, right? That's the definition.
Yeah,
Right?
hence the name. Think about this. Hip hop and rap started in America, no debate about that. Worldwide, probably one of the most pop-friendly genres at the moment, right? Country music did not go anywhere.
Do you kind of enforce a KPI for the marketing or the social media person?
Yeah, so we go more data-informed than data-driven because
Damn, so many people trying to get into US, but like you are trying to get out.
if you were to ask me like where would I move back to the States now, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
No.
$17.25 per hour, right, for the new Trump proposed minimum wage. It's 2.7k per month. You think 2.7k a month you can survive in Singapore?
You buy a whole chicken in NTUC and then you Monday, Tuesday.
A ration. I think you can still have 3 square meals, but you just cannot add excitement to your life with minimum wage.
MSG.
MSG, that's the only. Back to that topic, right? Because I think I discussed this with Shaw Nocturnals and Deepak. They run Therapy Room, which is like it's not exactly a DJ collective, but it is like equipment rentals production house that supports corporate events, but they specialize in like DJ events as well. And we were talking about like the Trump America and how chaotic it is, and then all of us as musicians, right, we hope to make it in the US, right, and then now it's like, no, I'm thinking twice, holy shit,
Well, I'll tell you this, like when Trump first went, and I think that was...
Is it 2016?
Yeah.
2016,
if I got in a cab and they asked me where I'm from and I said America, all they want to do is talk about politics.
Damn.
Even with Obama, like it was positive with Obama.
Yeah.
So I just started saying I'm from Canada. Just like avoid the whole thing. Just be like, I'm from Canada, I don't know. And they're like, oh, okay. Because I didn't really want to get into it. But it is interesting to hear the opinions of people outside the US. And then of course when I talk to my friends back home, they have their opinions on it.
Are they afraid for their lives? Because you see Singapore is relatively quite calm, right? Can you imagine, right, if Singapore government just behave like maybe 10% similar to US? Dude, Singapore chaos already, we are so not used to this level of like, candor. I don't know, would you say that?
Well, I mean, that's a nice way to put some of the things we're seeing. No, I think that I have a saying at work, and these guys have heard me say it before. I say direct with respect. So I think there is something to be said for being direct, but how you say it and the intentions are very important. So if you just kind of anyhow speak your mind, that's not that impressive, and nobody really wants to hear it. And if everybody does that, it's just complete chaos. So I think it's I don't think the American politics are a good representation of the people in America overall. And I mean, let's see what happens. I'm gonna get up early to kind of see how it comes.
Actually, wow, I just read about it, right? It's quite complicated. Like just now you were telling them, right? It's like November 5th is actually not the results, it's when they actually cast the vote. And then after that, you need to go through 4 layers, electoral.
And if it's close, then they'll do a manual count.
They are not like voting for Trump. They are voting for people that will vote for Trump, something like that, right?
So each state has a number of votes that count, and so it's probably overly complicated. So it's not just whoever votes, that's the amount to it.
Have you done Singapore voting?
No, but I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that it's required.
It's just like the PAP logo and the opposition, and then you just put an X.
So it's a two-party?
I think 3, right? I think it's 3.
I think the US needs more parties. I think the 2 parties is what gets in trouble. I mean, my vote goes, I'll tell you, it's not like a big deal. But I like Bernie Sanders. He's not running.
Oh my God, dude.
But I love Bernie Sanders. And I went to high school in Vermont. And he's lived in Vermont most of his life. He's originally from Brooklyn. And he came in one time in high school during our class. And it was like a social studies class, which basically is just like whatever history they want to tell you.
The perfect guest appearance.
They don't teach us much outside of America. Like you really got to get your own map. So he came in, he was sick. And he was even old back then. That was like however many years ago. He's like got a raspy voice and he's talking. And he just went on this like spiel about whatever, but it was really interesting. And then he left, and then everyone was like, who was that? And they're like, oh, that's the senator. And we're like, what is he doing here? And they're like, he's just going around to the public schools. And we're like, like at the time I was like, that's very weird, But later I was like, that's really cool that he did that and he really cares. And so that's the kind of politician I like and that I would go for.
For I think Singaporean reference, right? I don't think we understand how big a senator actually is. You know, US is technically US 50, right? If you consider the mainland is US 48 and US 50, it's technically
plus Puerto Rico.
It's technically like 50 different countries in one country.
It's a huge place.
Yeah, and a senator, you are like the king of one of that country.
Well, you will go and represent that state in Washington D.C. I believe.
Yeah.
We don't even learn that much about the government. Either.
So for a senator to come to your school is like, what the fuck, you know?
Well, it's a small school in a small town, right? But it was interesting. And just on that, like an American like traveling out of the US, not counting Canada or Mexico, is not so common. And so it's kind of funny when I run into Americans like overseas because we're almost like lone wolves and mavericks. We're not like clicked up like the French or the Spanish that like have the communities. We don't really have that as much. I mean, you got the American club, but we're just like doing
same as Chinese people, man. Chinese people just want to earn money. We don't care about our friends. Hey, every man for himself.
No, but like, so here's how the conversation goes. I meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, so and so's American." I'm like, "Oh, you're American." First question every time without fail: where are you from? And so I moved around my whole life. Like I didn't live
state to state.
State to state, like never stayed longer than like 5 years. The longest place I've ever lived is Singapore, which is coming on like 13 years.
Damn.
Yeah. And so when I meet an American and they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I moved all over." It doesn't cut it because like a lot of them kind of grew up in the same place. So they're like, "Well, where are you born?" I'm like, "San Francisco." And they're like, "Well, so you grew up in San Francisco?" I'm like, "Nah, we moved when I was like 2. Then where'd you move to? Kentucky, which is down south, right?" Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, so but you don't have an accent." I'm like, "Yeah, because then I moved to New Jersey and then New York and then Vermont." And then like they're just like, I don't care. Because it's so important in America, like where you come from and like where you rep.
Yeah, where you rep, right? Yeah.
And so but it is what it is, yeah.
Wow,
it makes it easier for me to move around.
Yeah. But then right now you're staying in Singapore for 13 years is like the current longest. You have not this is like your basically final stop, right? As of now.
So I did.
Or you like Singapore, then somewhere else, then back to Singapore.
Well, 16 years total in Asia, 13 in Singapore, 3 in Shanghai. And Shanghai was fun and eye-opening and all those things. But I was like, I can't live in China my whole life. And so I came back to Singapore. I don't know if I'll live here my whole life, but it's been this long so far.
Damn.
So,
yeah, because actually I work in an airlines company and I speak to a lot of Americans daily, right? Like most of them is like they don't even have the need to have a passport because their country is like so big already.
Right? In the States.
Yeah, in the States. Yeah, they don't even have to travel outside, So it's like, hey, this like Beyonce is the biggest singer in the world, and then, their world is just the USA.
It's a big space, but a small world. If that makes sense. And until you get out and travel, you wouldn't know otherwise.
So I would say, right, most of them, I wouldn't say they feel uncomfortable traveling out of their country, but there's no need. There's no need technically.
Yeah. No, you got to understand the information, at least before the internet was so big, because I was pre-internet as well, like in high school and stuff. You just get fed like crazy stories about what's happening in the world. Yeah. So as crazy it is in the US, you're like, oh, it's more dangerous.
Crazy outside.
But it's not. Like, it really isn't. And so, but you wouldn't know unless you go, right? And so then when you go, you're like, oh, actually, there's a lot happening around the world.
Yep.
And that's been my feeling every time I travel. Like, oh yeah, like the US is very cool in very many different ways, but it's not the end all be all. Yeah.
I haven't personally experienced that yet.
You haven't been?
I've been US like maybe 4 times, I would say 3 or 4 times when I was younger, because my dad was studying there, doing like a master's in mechanical engineering or something like that. And then I went there and visit, right? I think I went there so long ago, people are still wearing cowboy hats when they exit Las Vegas casinos.
Oh yeah, that's still happening.
Oh, that's still
I think Beyonce did a country album.
Yeah, she got a Levi's.
Post Malone, is that like? I think the country, it's so uniquely American. But think about this: hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
Started in America, no debate about that.
Yeah.
Worldwide, probably one of the most pop friendly genres at the moment, right?
Yep.
country music did not go anywhere. It went down to Mexico for a little bit. It has pockets around the world, but it's not even close to as popular as, you know, rap, hip hop music. It's like so uniquely American. And I lived in places that were rural and city places. And so I do have a love for all music, but country music as well. It's just so interesting to me that never translated. Like, have you heard any, could you name me a country song? Like
Chinese country song.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
No, it's tough, right? So it's weird. It's a weird genre that like didn't go anywhere.
Correct. I think it's like very too unique already to maybe the geography, you know.
Well, think hip hop came from like inner cities, right?
Yeah.
Kind of unique. And then it went out to the suburbs and the rural were like, all right, I don't live that life, but there's something like compelling. And like, I remember the first like hip hop song I ever heard, like changed my life. Like I was big into hip hop, like golden era from like late 80s to early 2000s. Like hearing that first, like it was a LL Cool J song, changed everything for me.
Damn.
And I was like, what is this? And then I had an older brother and he had friends that were from New York City and they'd bring these Funkmaster Flex and Red Alert tapes up and we'd play them and we're like, what is, like, this is the craziest thing we've ever heard and so good. And so that like triggered kind of this like really deep love for discovery and music that I think you probably have as well. Like there are like points in your life when you're listening to something for the first time, like a genre, and it's a game changer. And so like for me, the first one was hip hop.
Did it happen during that New York, New Jersey era where you moved there?
No. So I was so young. So after New Jersey, but in New York. So I guess kind of, but you know, I was a kid. I was like 10 years old. And so it was these mixtapes.
But that's the source of all hip hop, you know.
Literally the mixtapes.
Yeah.
I had a record player already. Like when I was younger, my parents have vinyl records, but it was like 80s funk, disco, soul, all this kind of music. So I would listen to that and be like, okay. And then I got my first turntable was like a Fisher Price turntable.
Oh, damn.
Like 45 size. And then I got like a bigger Mickey Mouse one. And then I'd listen to whatever my parents had in that size. And then when I got on the hip hop, I was like, I have to like
be a DJ.
I have to be around this, right? And so then it's like, all right, not a rapper, like not producing, didn't have any equipment. DJ, I can play CDs, I can play tapes, I can play vinyl. So that was like the starting point. And then when you get into hip hop, you realize how much sampling and throwback there is to all the other genres. And it really wasn't until I moved to Singapore where I got into a lot of other electronic music. Because to me, the States at least were more clicked up in like genres. So you obviously had like techno and house going on, but like hip hop was its own world. You didn't have too much crossover.
Correct. I think the techno and house is more European kind of. It's like their national anthem.
Well, house. I believe started in the US.
I mean, they
Chicago.
you know, they want to like say
Detroit.
Chicago, Detroit.
And like but I missed all that. I wasn't like really paying attention to it because I was just so engrossed with hip hop. But then coming to Singapore, because there's like a good world perspective on music, that's when I started hearing other DJs play other stuff. Where I was like, okay, this is really nice as well.
So how's your DJ career going?
Retired.
I'm retired.
Yeah, retired.
But like, how long do you actually do this like full time for a while?
So, man, the first time I started DJing, I was 17. So I'm 46.
Oh,
so
damn,
like,
you're 46. I didn't know that. I thought late 30s.
So like, I'm going.
What the fuck? What skincare these guys use, man?
No, I got a secret. Not a secret.
Tanglin Gin lotion.
Tanglin Gin. This is an age reducer. No, I said people are like, if they ever, and this doesn't happen all the time, but whenever I get asked, I'm like, yeah, you know, don't get married, don't have kids. Of course, my brother hates that one, but because he's married with kids. No, 17, and it was really like right when the internet started coming up, and you know the Source magazine? It's like hip-hop. So they had all these ads in the back and like all these places in like New York that you could order. So I literally called them up and I was like, I want these 2 turntables that I could only afford then, and a DJ Jazzy Jeff mixer. Whoa. It was the old mixer with like the volume meters. And I got it, and it was belt drive, and I had maybe 6 records, and I played those to death. But it was hard. I didn't really, nobody was there to teach me. There's no YouTube like videos. And then when I started college, this is true, my first semester, I went to a big state college in Massachusetts. So what happens is your parents like drop you off, and then they give you, you have a meal plan, and they give you book money, right?
Okay.
Because you got to buy the books to take the class. I took the book money and I bought better turntables and speaker systems.
Spoken like a true DJ. You know, for those of you that do not know, right, when he mentioned belt drive turntable, I died, man.
You already know.
Yo, this is one of the real DJs, man. He's the real. I didn't even go that backwards, man. I just started with like direct drive. You know, belt drive is actually not is like considered low torque turntable. That means you must be very careful, right? When you backspin, you might accidentally stop the whole turntable.
Yeah, start spinning it backwards.
That's why they invented the direct drive.
That's
you
right.
know? If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section.
No. I think
extra engagement. Let's go, baby.
No, I think you're right. And I remember when then I started playing out at like frat houses, house parties, and like I play in my dorms. And I remember I just buy records. Any money I had, just buy records. And I was big into turntablism, so I was trying to buy doubles of everything, which is really expensive.
Shit.
So I was getting into it, and then this real DJ guy came in that I didn't know who he was, but he was from like a well-known guy in one of the cities. And he came in and he's like, looks at my equipment, and he just watches me for a second. He's like, can I jump on for a second? And at the time, like I was so new and I was just like happy to talk anything. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So he goes in my record bag and he takes out a record that had the plastic film, right?
Oh, brand new.
So then he takes the record out and he splits the film. Then he takes the slip mat and he pushes the film on it and puts a slip mat over. So he's like, now you'll get better.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, dude.
My boots.
So then he takes the needle and he goes and he calibrates it and he's like, this is kind of where you want to be at. And like, lighter will jump, any heavier will mess your record. And I'm like, dude. And then he jumped on, he started scratching and juggling like during a party. And I was like, thank you so much. Because he taught me in, 5 minutes what would have took me forever to learn. And obviously I didn't know. So then like I really wanted to meet as many DJs as possible.
That was literally before the time when sleep sheets was invented.
No.
Yeah,
it was
he
used the plastic in the record wrapper.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah, and so that kind of got me on my DJ.
Oh shit, man! 9 November, you need to show us something, man. Dude, you're secretly crazy, man. This guy is crazy, okay? You guys, if you don't know DJing, right? You don't even know the level. What the fuck this guy is saying he's real, dude. He's crazy. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, like last time, right, when you do turntablism, right, because you need to scratch, but then you cannot stop the turntable, right? So you have an extra film of plastic. And that was like a manufactured item, But when he started DJing before that thing was even created. So they had to like ad hoc use the plastic within, the record holder plastic.
And like, this was before the mixers were really like butter. So you'd put like an oil thing on it to get it faster and like wear them down. And there was all these like little tricks that I was learning. And that's when I was like consuming battle tapes and going to battle shows. And like,
I still remember when they first invented that slip sheet, right? And they manufactured it, they called the slip sheet flying carpets.
Oh, nice.
So you can fly with it.
Feeling.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah. So that got me on the DJing, and then so I don't know if you know this, you probably don't, but like how I ended up in Singapore, like the whole kind of backstory of it is when I moved to Boston. This was like mid 2000s. I was DJing. I just started getting paid DJ gigs. I'd go to like dive bars and be like, I'll DJ. Give me $50 and like a bar tab, and they'd let me set up and I'd play. And this was all like
you bring your own equipment.
Bring my own equipment. So like this was records. This was like right before Serato took over.
Crates and all.
So I'd walk it and I'd pack my crates, and then you're like, this is what I can play today, right?
Right.
You can't go outside, and so I bring it along. Anyway, did that for a couple years, and then I had a buddy who was like, hey, this new lounge, and lounge was kind of new at that time. Because like, what's a lounge? It's not a club, it's not a bar. Cocktail bars are just popping off now in like the early 2000s in the States. And he's like, it's on the Cambridge side. So Cambridge is like right across the river from Boston where MIT, Harvard are. So it's like its own city. And so we go in and like the first night we start playing, and it popped off. The furniture, everybody moved the furniture out, and they just started dancing. And so I did that gig for many years. And then like some like Soul Clap came out of that. Kon, like the DJ guy, was from like that time and that movement where like clubs and lounges were really starting to in Boston starting to get going. So I'm sure they're going in New York and other cities. And then one night I'm DJing. I was doing mashups. That's when like mashup DJing was at its height. DJ AM, people like mixing genres and stuff. And so I was into it too. So I was doing mashups as well. And I did a Jay-Z Toto mashup. And this dude comes up and he's like, hey, what song is this? And I'm like, it's the Toto Africa with Jay-Z. And he's like, no, like what, like, where'd you get it? And I was like, I made it. And he's like, oh, okay. So he kind of stood there. And then this is how I remember it.
2 turntables.
No, he's standing next to me, right? So I'm DJing. I'm like, what's up with this guy? So then he's like, hey, man, I got a bar. You could come play. And I was like, yeah. He gives me his card. Put it in my pocket. I finished the night. I don't think much about it. Wake up the next day. I'm like going in my pockets. I look and then there's a card. And so I'm looking at the card. And I'm like, I've only been to Canada and London, traveling. Not very
at that point.
At that point. Look at it, I'm like, +6.5. I'm like, +6.5. What? Like, where in the US is this? I was like, what is this like I didn't know what it was. So then it had a website. And so I go Loof. So I go to the website and I'm like, it's a cool website. And I was like, where is it? In Singapore.
All right.
And I was like, Singapore. And of course, at the time, Americans, we only know Singapore for like a handful of things.
Yeah.
And so I emailed the guy and I'm like, hey man,
what the hell? That guy go to US to find you to give you the card.
So the guy studied in the US.
Right.
And he was visiting a friend in Boston.
Yeah.
And basically I emailed him. I'm like, dude, I live in Boston. Like, I don't know, what I can do. He's like, yeah. But if you ever go to Asia, hit me up. So then that planted the seed for me. Then I was like, I can travel. I can go. Maybe DJing can bring me places.
Damn.
So then I started researching in Shanghai and Hong Kong and Singapore, places I could DJ. And this embarked me on like a 6-month press kit, contacting everywhere, where I landed a residency at this club in Shanghai called Bon Bon, which goes way back. Like it was one of those big mega clubs. And they're like, we'll put you on for a month. And they were bringing in DJs from the US like Spin Bad and Low B, who's like half of Holotronics, and Diplo and Low B were Holotronics, and they were blowing up in the US. So they had all these big names. And then it was like me in the mix. I was like, what's going on? So once I booked that, then I was like, I can go to Singapore. And then I booked Mint in Hong Kong, which was like at the time, like a private club or whatever it was.
Right.
And that's what brought me out my first trip to Asia and played at Loof 2008 or whatever it was.
So all these gigs are like stops before Loof.
Well, no, it was a residency and I travel out of Shanghai and then go back because you had to play every week. You had like 2 gigs guaranteed in the club and then you could go out. So I went out to Mint, then came back, then went out to Shanghai. So
you're DJing till like what, late 20s, 30s?
I would say I was DJing seriously until my late 20s.
Damn.
And then when I did that club gig, I was like, this is not for me. I don't enjoy I'm not a performer. I don't like being in front of people. I don't enjoy
just DJing.
Any of it. I love the music and I love that people are having a good time.
Right.
But that's where it stopped for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized like, okay, if I'm going to DJ, it has to be stuff I want to do and the way I want to do it. And it was a humbling experience, but a good one. Because then I knew, okay, this isn't my full time.
Yeah.
Because up until then, I was like, maybe I should. Maybe I can.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
but are you doing a day job anytime during that period? Or just
yeah,
DJing?
of course. Yeah. Doing a day job. At the time in Boston, I was at like an agency. And
like
so
marketing.
Doing marketing stuff, yeah.
But how did they allow you to go to China for like 1 month or something?
So I quit.
Oh damn! Wow, that's a super leap of faith, man.
Yeah.
Hey, he's fucking crazy, okay, this guy. Like his A to B to C is like wow.
I take a gimlet. Thank you. No, I mean it was reckless. Like I wouldn't recommend it. Almost every job I've quit and then started something new. And like, listen, everybody's told me like,
damn,
don't leave something till you get something. Makes sense. That's my advice for people out there. But yeah, that's not my approach. because once I'm done, and like that's
twist,
it.
Can twist Oh shit, because some
Can't
of
do the
these
old
twists.
table.
I mean, can lah, but then so loud, right? Okay, fine, I'll do it. I'm done.
Oh yeah, he got it.
Got it. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah, today we got like dope gin and atas.
Yeah, the fever cherry. Yeah, it's a bit up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then when I got back to America, I was like, guys, I like to my friends and family, I was like, I'm gonna move abroad, and everyone laughed. Everyone was like, no, you're not. Like, oh, how are you gonna move abroad? And so then I just started job searching, anything marketing related in Singapore and Shanghai and Hong Kong, and then found a job, and then I was out within like 9 months.
Wow, but the complexity, right? You need to like get work permit.
Yeah.
You need to get Do we need PR?
No, not to come. Not to get there. So it was I mean, I had to interview for the jobs. It was like a video call. But I just knew I wanted to go somewhere else.
Right.
That Boston was I just felt like there was something else out there for me.
Damn, so many people trying to get into US, but like you are trying to get out of US. But what's the mentality behind it? Is it because this new exciting opportunity is being presented to you, or you are like kind of sick of US, you want to try something new? What's the...
Yeah, a bit of that. Like if you were to ask me like where would I move back to the States now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like that. There's no compelling city. There's friends and family and places, but like there's no compelling city for me. Like I'd rather live in many other places around the world.
I was talking to Race. He is first and foremost like a visual artist and do some DJing gig at the side lah. And then he's like, no way, man, I'm not moving back to US. I'm not about to get taxed 50% and start owning a car and driving everywhere. I want to take MRT, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same. I don't like driving anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause I started driving when I was 15. Right? You get your learner's permit. Then 16 legit. And so I drove, until my 20s. And like, it's fun at the time, but like now I don't enjoy sitting in a car. I'd rather...
You need to find parking.
Walk, bike, like bus. MRT.
Oh, here got COE, yeah. There don't have lah. These don't have lah.
No. We got some toll roads and stuff, but not everywhere.
Yeah. Not as vicious as our ERP.
No.
Our ERP. Even the taxi also cannot. Hey, can cross, must pay $2. Yeah. Insane, man. Yeah. So come to Singapore, Louvre, and then the Louvre is like a one-time thing.
Yeah, it was a one-time thing. And then it's funny, when I moved here, I didn't tell the guy I moved here. He like hit me up a couple months later and he's like, I heard you moved to Singapore. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like,
how did he know you moved to Singapore?
I think Singapore, like, word gets around. I think
is there Instagram back then?
2009. No, so it was MySpace.
Maybe he ate you a Friendster.
Friendster. So like early days, even when, so like when Facebook first started, it was like a Harvard thing, but I had a .edu email, so I joined like early days in it. And the good thing about the early days Facebook was that you knew who it was. It's legit. MySpace was not. But now Facebook's like kind of trash, and Instagram, I'm getting pretty burnt out. I try. Thank you. I try to keep up with the TikTok, but that also is just like.
Yeah. So as a marketing major, but right now you are like more in the F&B realm, right? But you were once in the marketing. Maybe can also ask some advice from him. What are your thoughts on some of the platforms? Like, firstly, TikTok is going to get banned, right?
Oh, in the US?
In the US. By 2025, no more already. So that means TikTok will lose about 300 million users. Yeah. So what's the future of TikTok like? And like as a marketer for both of you, what platforms are you looking at to push your products out now?
It depends on the product and depends on the demographics. I now have a saying is like, marketing is for the youth, like music's for the youth kind of thing. They know and they're plugged in, and I think, not to be ageist, but at some point, like, you're just out of touch, right? And
yes.
So it's okay.
Yes.
You know other things, but you don't know that, and like you can't even pretend. So that's why I like to hire in like the marketing team, younger people that know more and are better at this stuff, can understand it, and then that kind of keeps it well-rounded for the marketing team.
Right.
Not try to dive in and put on baggy pants and, you know,
But right now, what are
like I
your...
can do a TikTok video.
Hey, but you should do a TikTok video, you know. You know those kind of like Kardashian lip sync, right? And then you get your boss to do it. That's the funniest shit ever, man.
I don't want to be at that age. Like, I hope I'm not at that point where it's like the, you know, the dad dancing kind of thing and stuff like
Italian dads, Italian dads. There's a trend.
No,
Yeah.
I think I don't know what the future is. I think these platforms are quite temporary and they tend to
Keep changing. Right?
yeah, they tend to flame out.
But what's now?
Before TikTok was Vine.
Yeah, but
Vine, when then TikTok came.
Snapchat.
Snapchat, something will come back again. Snapchat will die and then something will get replaced.
But right now, okay, let's just say 2025. What's your strategy moving forward? Okay, with TikTok going through such a rapid change, right? And then you guys from Tanglin Gin, how are you gonna like push the products out? How are you gonna like get people to come down to the events from where?
Yeah, so I think we'll use each of the platforms as kind of the best usage. So again, like going to the demographics, I think TikTok's younger, so we get I mean, we're looking right now to hire a TikTok intern. So somebody to come in, like we did at Zook, come in, just focus on TikTok and bang it out and like create TikTok content for the TikTok audience that nobody older would be able to come up with.
Yeah.
I remember okay, here's a TikTok Zook story. We're sitting in a conference room with all the decision makers from the tippy top.
Basically old people.
Old people.
Old people.
So it comes around to marketing. And they're like, so what's the marketing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going through and I'm like, and by the way, we're doing, like, we're focusing on TikTok. We're going to get an intern. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so they're like, can you show? So I pull it up and I show it. And it was like, they're like, what is this? And I'm like, well, to the point, you're not supposed to get it. It's not for you.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh. Like, they just were like so perplexed on it. Several of them. And I was like, listen, guys, I get it, but it's not for you. You don't get it. And that's okay. And I was like, let me watch this space. We're going to be, you know, the most followed club in Singapore.
Yeah.
We're going to outdo Vegas. We're going to do all this stuff because somebody like this is running it with content like this.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
We came #1 in Singapore, outdid Vegas. But it was
kind
of hilarious. Man. Like in that meeting, it landed so flat.
Do you
Nobody said anything. Like, and then it was like the tippy top guy was like, I don't get it. And you're like, yeah. Well,
that's perfect.
Yeah, good. So like we did something. We're supposed to.
It's not targeting you. Do you know the trend? Give me my money. You know that?
So I will say this, like. There are trends. So trends, trends by definition.
Dude, I don't understand that, man. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What's the whole point of this? You know?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. So we try not to hop on ones that aren't relevant to the brand.
That
are just like super flame out. No, but of course, like there'll always be these trends that people kind of incorporate. I think if we can do fun stuff with the brand, that's cool. It does. Like honestly. Really in F&B, this is true. I could name some very successful places that don't have a marketing team, that don't focus on it, that just do what they do really well. That's enough, actually. Marketing will give you that jump step or cover for the other stuff you're not doing well.
Yeah.
But theoretically, you want to be able to nail the experience. And if you do that, you will be successful.
Damn.
And if you fall short, you better hope you have good marketing and a deep pocket. Because F&B is brutal, especially right now. Brutal.
But then the thing is, if you look at like, I don't know, like clubs and bars, right? How do you even hope to survive in Singapore that's so competitive if you don't do marketing? If, you know, okay, last time there's this saying, right? If the product is good or the music is good, I don't need to sell it. The product sells itself. But do you believe it is still the case now in the world? The product sells itself. Look at Apple versus Samsung. You know.
No, it's just a slower burn. It's a slower burn.
Yeah.
But I really believe that. And I think the proof is in the pudding.
Fonda's a long-term customer, right? Good product.
Listen, word of mouth trumps everything. If you saw a commercial, you'd be slightly affected. Maybe you forget about it. If a friend told you about an experience they had, you're gonna like, and you trust that friend in that space, it's going to mean a lot more.
Yeah.
You're going to like make that plan to go see it. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think for us, like our approach is we believe in the product. We have a unique selling point. We have a distillery next to our bar.
Yeah.
We have good people in the right places. And so that should be enough. So we just want to highlight that. And if people are interested in all the other stuff, great. But that shouldn't be the compelling reason for them to like, you know.
Do you kind of enforce a KPI for the marketing or the social media person?
Which is me.
Do I enforce that?
I don't know. How do you measure your success, you know? Because followers, likes, and view counts are so temperamental. Like, okay, I can follow this trend, I can do it very well, but it might not blow, you know? So it's also very hard to answer to your boss also, right?
I have an answer, but you go.
Yeah.
I
mean, you want to see this because don't see you start first?
He's like, why'd you bring this up?
Oh shit, tomorrow is Tuesday.
He's like, we got work.
It's our mass meeting anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I'm preparing you.
I'm glad he doesn't put like a hard KPI on me. I mean, obviously I have to do well anyway.
Yeah.
Competitors and stuff like that. It's still a very saturated market. But I think it's just more about each post that authentically does it do well. Because we don't run ads per se on each of our posts.
Yeah.
Like we did back then in the last company that we were in.
Yeah.
So this one at least we were like, it's really organic, you know, and it's if it does well, it does well. It doesn't, then we're gonna go back to square one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the good answer. That's true. And I think because I have a marketing background, I can work with marketing in a different way than I've worked with my bosses previously that maybe don't come from a marketing background.
Yeah.
Measure what matters. A lot of times in marketing, you are scrambling because your boss is telling you to show me the KPI, show me what you did. And then you get kind of caught up in the numbers. Like how many views were this, how many likes, all that can be fabricated and doesn't necessarily equal what matters. What matters is dollars and cents. Are people buying the product? Are they coming in? That is like first and foremost and forever. And so everybody at the company is accountable for that. If we're not profitable, not just revenue, but profitable, we don't have a job. There's no company. So we're driving to that point of like to make it work. And so that's what I would say. So when we carve out these campaigns and strategies, it needs to kind of end up at some point to that. It doesn't need to be tomorrow, but eventually it needs to get to that point.
Yeah, because like personally there's a lot of DJs that's doing social media, but how do you like kind of track like, for example, like ticket sales, like, you know, you're doing all this media campaign, how do you track ticket sales? And then for you guys, I think it's even more challenging. How do you track all your TikTok campaigns to how many bottles you sell?
Yeah, we don't, because like that's not the point of the campaign usually. So if we do a campaign for, it's like, we just want to sell this bottle, like this GPSS. So like, we talk about this bottle, here's the link, click to order it. Yeah, then that's the
More
purpose
direct.
of that. But
Right.
we try not to throw it in the face. We try to do more of a broader, less hard sell, more of a broader approach to kind of put it on people's radar. And if they are into gins and want to try something new, they
Right.
like F1 or whatever, then that should kind of lead them in that direction. And that frees the marketing team up to kind of do more creative stuff and not be so high pressured to get that immediate. It's the tactical, you know, versus kind of the longevity of it.
Correct.
People, when they start freaking out about marketing, they go tactical. Let's do a happy hour tomorrow, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the long-term play, and it hurts the brand.
Yeah.
And so you really got to stick to your guns on that when you're in marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like quite similar to Zook and Jakim when they like play the long game. But you know, when I spoke to Lincoln, it is very difficult, you know, like first 3 years not profitable, and then eventually, you know, they just do what's cool, and then certain times it sells, certain times it doesn't sell. But at the end of the day, whether it sells or not, people still know that you're maintaining the cool factor.
Yeah.
And then that became the brand, and eventually became successful lah.
23 years.
Yeah, but not many people that is running a business have that kind of appetite for the length of suffering, you know, before you reach risk appetite, you see. So when you have conversations with marketing every month, right, how do you check whether they are doing well or not? If it's not about hard KPI, is it like maybe reach, based on reach? Like, hey, this month you reach how many people? And this month you reach 10% more, so you're more successful.
Yeah, so we go more data informed than data driven, because data is
What's
like
the difference?
Yeah, so data driven is, here are some numbers. I'm going to interpret it one way and we're going to go that direction, right? Like the data directs us to where we want to go. The problem with that is, if you know anything about statistics, it's in the eyes of the person looking at it, right? And so that's what I believe. And so data informed is, let's look at this. Now we're going to discuss it. What does this mean? And then where do we go from there? So it's a slightly different approach. A lot of people jump at the data. And I mean, there's companies that make a lot of money going, like selling that idea of like, look at the data, here's what you need to do. Look at how Nike just recently, like, the guy that they brought in was data digital. It was like, we want to push it online, and then Nike coolness and all this stuff went down. Then they got him out. So they need to change their approach because they forgot about the creativity, the brand strength, all that stuff, the core stuff that people, you can't put a number to it necessarily every time. That's the difference. So that's our conversation of looking at, but we have a calendar that overlays, right? And so if we're going to do a product launch, or we're going to do an anniversary party, we're going to do this stuff. What are the campaigns around that? How does it look? So that's kind of how, and then afterwards what money did we make? And then we evaluate it, and then we continue on. And then next year we go back to that data and look at, okay, what did we do? What was a return? So many factors. What was, F&B right now is getting hit, right? Fact. So it'd be probably not wise to just compare year over year of what we're doing. I'd rather go out to the industry, talk to people. How are you doing comparatively? What's the trend? What are we seeing? Who are the tourists coming in? All that stuff. And then come up with an approach and tap into new ways to make up for the lack of people coming in every day.
But technically, they are competitors, right? So why would they give you the data?
Well, I mean, they're not showing me their P&L or vice versa. But I think the F&B community is strong enough here where people will share enough where you get an idea.
Right.
And they don't even need to. I can sit in any place on a Saturday and tell if they're doing well or not. Anybody can, right? And so it's not such a mystery. And I don't really look at it as competitors. This came up recently because we're talking about other distilleries in Singapore.
Right.
Historically, I think there can only be one. Or we're the true, because Tanglin was founded by 4 guys that were not born and raised in Singapore, right? That's the fact. That's the story. That's okay. Then you have like a Brass Lion where Jamie is Singaporean, female distiller in Singapore. That's a great story. It doesn't need to be a competition. Really. It's a friendly kind of go back and forth. But I think where I come from is where, like, my idea on it is, it's a community of distilleries in a small place. We need to raise the visibility together. And then kind of we will all benefit of that rising tide. And that's really where I land. And so if we can put Singapore more on the map for a place that spirits are made, we will all benefit. We have quality spirits here across the board. And so why don't we work together rather than against each other to kind of build that up? Same with F&B. Who's competing with us? Exactly. Nobody in Dempsey, because they don't have a distillery. They don't have, our menu. It's a totally different offering, totally different vibe space. So it's not that. If somebody comes in, they want a food recommendation, we'll point them in a direction. And then when I go out and people don't even know I'm at Tanglin and I ask them for stuff, same thing. It's really that community feel. And so that's the approach.
I recently went to a hideout coffee bar that's just nearby here. It's run by Dion and Esme. Dion, I think he owns an agency called Tell Your Children or something. It's like this art.
Good name.
So they basically run like a coffee shop that I think recently the neighbors complained about them, and then they are not allowed to have dine-in because like of the noise or whatever. And then they're trying to reapply the permit and whatever. And then they speak very strongly about community as well. If not, without the community, it's just like become any kopitiam, But with the community, that's the only way that you can survive. I think same applies for clubbing, People don't go to club by themselves. They go to club with their friends, right? So before we actually go dive into Tanglin Gin, right, I want to discuss a little bit about just now what you said, the info-driven and info-informed. Data-driven and data-informed, right? Because it's such a nuanced conversation, right, that I don't think many people can understand what it actually means. I would like to share my own personal example, right, of how I interpret data on this podcast. For example, right, when I see a high click-through rate, then I would think, oh, people click and watch because the thumbnail is good. But then eventually, right, the podcast became it's starting to do well, like Lincoln's podcast or the old school versus new school podcast is doing well, right? Then YouTube start to push it out to more audience.
That's right.
And more audience means more percentage of people that don't care about us versus people care about us. So the click-through rate dropped. So does that mean my thumbnail is bad now? Or we are actually reaching a wider audience?
Yeah.
Does that, in your mind, feels like data informed? Like that means like multiple ways to interpret a singular stat.
Well, I guess partially, but I would say it goes more to the point of like, and I'm gonna use an American analogy: a shotgun blast versus a sniper blast.
Yes,
shotgun will go everywhere. People seem to think that don't know
shotgun's
marketing
best,
that well.
Yeah.
Let's just get to everybody, because if everybody knows we exist, we'll by default will be more popular. People
know, man.
No.
Yeah.
So you got to get to your target audience. That's why it's like the sniper shot. So when we talk about what do we want to do and achieve in the demographics, we're thinking about it in that way. How do we get to that audience? Is this the right platform? Do they care about what is the thumbnail that would resonate?
Right.
You know, what's the description, the copy? Don't rule out copy, because copy is still like very important.
Yeah, man.
That voice. So that's how we would go. So I would say that you could just look at the data and just say, okay, this is telling me this, and then do a jump conclusion. But it already sounds like you've been more data informed already by looking at it and then coming to a conclusion and then being like, okay, well, this is most likely what happened because this is my analysis. So I think you're on the right path. But I think the beauty of yours and where you will see more traction is that you are tapped into a community already. So many people I've been on. That's how I discovered your podcast to begin with, where I was like, this is a cool podcast.
You told me.
Yeah, I was like, can we just miss each other on Zoom, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was like, I like the people that are going on, and I like the topics, and I like the conversation. I like the format. I wasn't even looking at the followers or the views. I was like, this is where I think Tanglin should be. And so then we reached out. And so because I believed in kind of a few things in that format, that I think it will become more and more successful as it goes. And so
I hope, man.
But I think it's not going to be necessarily that YouTube boost or whatever. It's going to be staying true to the people we have on here, the topics you want to talk about, and what you want to tap into. That's what will be it.
Because I think when you look at Singaporean content, right, you already can imagine what it is already, right? You know, and we are kind of doing very American style podcasts where it's more serious kind of topic. And I used to have a bunch of people together in Revelry, right? But then now they went to do their own stuff, and they disagree with the direction a lot. They say it's too serious for Singaporeans already. But then the thing is, like, if everybody's like making a joke, right, then it's like, you know, you cannot really stand out and differentiate to yourself. And secondly, I prefer the more insightful kind of stuff because I used to have a period where I am obsessively creating on TikTok. So anybody can go to my TikTok now, right? You cannot scroll finish. I post 8 TikToks a day for 1 year.
How many?
8 a day.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I think I have like close to 30,000.
Damn.
30,000 followers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm just like grinding it out lah, basically. Not a huge following, but my content
that's pretty big.
My content is just music. It's all music. Like there's no like following the trend or whatever. So I don't expect it to like go exploding, right? And then so in order to post and create on TikTok, I have to watch a lot of TikTok. And then I soon realized like TikTok make me feel a certain way. Like after scrolling for 2 hours, I feel like, oh my god, what's happening? Why do I feel this like a bit depressed? I feel like I just wasted 2 hours of my my life like that, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think back then maybe there's just too many rubbish content already, you know, and all the information content just didn't reach me somehow. And then I discovered podcasting, and then it took a turn for me.
That was the shift for you.
Yeah, that was the shift. Like long form is like the
Yeah.
new short form, you know.
Yeah,
And,
agreed.
and I feel that with long form content, it's like you don't gain a lot of followers, right? But they are more loyal as compared to, like, for example, you look at Charlie D'Amelio. I don't know if you guys still remember Charlie D'Amelio, the first TikTok star, like 49 million, 100 million followers on TikTok, some shit.
Where are they from?
American,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So like with Bella Poarch and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a comedian?
No.
She's a dancer.
It's like a young
Oh.
girl, like 18, 19, and then dance, you know,
Nothing
go
interesting.
follow her. And then because they have such a big following, at the end of the day, they cash it out on YouTube, you know, they convert to long form content. And then the followers is also not, say, very engaged because they are so used to watching them for a 3 second burst, right? They don't actually feel connected to them as a person.
That's right.
And then when they try to do long form, then it just kind of like,
No, but can I just say?
Yeah.
Because of TikTok, I think it has affected our music industry in a way.
Yes.
Songs are shorter now.
yeah,
2 minutes. And
yeah.
I think songs used to be like 4 or 5 minutes back then.
Yeah.
Now,
Last time got
That's
8
the
minutes.
normal length.
Last time got 8 minutes song.
3
Oh.
minutes already is pushing too long already.
Yeah.
I think it's shorter and I'm bored.
Yeah.
I want to the next song already. Chorus, pre-chorus, and I'm done.
Don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, even YouTube is also kind of like fighting this trend, right? Like, you know, long form content, right? Used to be 10 minutes, then you can put 3 ads. So you can monetize more. Now they shorten it to 8 minutes, you can put 3 ads, like one in the start, one in the middle, one in the end. So even YouTube long form content is also understanding that, okay, shit, this is happening. Yeah,
But then
man.
you did have YouTube Shorts.
And they still have YouTube Shorts on top of that.
Yeah.
It's
They're
like
trying to
IG.
cover everything.
No, it's like
right?
Instagram. They saw Snapchat, they quickly put IGS.
Yeah.
Then you have IGS.
Must adapt a bit lah.
Correct.
Yeah, now I'm a little bit addicted to YouTube Shorts, but then I like, okay,
Sure.
no, I need to stop.
It's okay if it's a starting point to something you're interested in.
Yeah,
To go
yeah.
long form,
Yeah.
that's the best way. Because you chop up these as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, if it leads to that and then that person watching, then that's successful.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to really get a sense of what the conversation was in its entirety
Yes.
for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It would be tough. Because even the ones you do, like you do in the beginning, like the snap, like the
Or
couple of it.
like intros.
But it's actually, you know, I get why you do it, and I think I'm not saying stop it, but then when you get into it, it's way deeper, and there's way more meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason, like you have a lot of guests that I'm familiar with their work or where they worked or what they did, but I had no idea who's
the
behind it.
personality, right?
And then I'd see the person. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Then you hear about this story and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is the guy or the girl who did this, and now I'm seeing him on. Yeah,
I somehow have a special ability, right? I can make anybody that come up here, right, start scolding vulgarities.
you will get it from me.
First.
I don't swear.
Hey, soon, man. Well, I'll get you on.
I mean,
I'll
I'll
get
say-
you on 9 November.
So this, no.
Like that's literally a few days.
Swearing is a thing for me. Like I don't like workplace cursing
Oh, right.
personally,
Right.
and I feel like it stems from
It's good.
somebody in my life telling me like, because I used to swear. It was like a slippery slope for me. Like I would swear all the time. I couldn't stop. Like then it was just like I'd have a conversation and just like drop F-bombs, and then this person was like, do you not have a big enough vocabulary to articulate yourself in a better way? And then it was like, what do you mean? And they're like, you can still get your point across, but without the swear. And then once I stopped, like I really haven't gone back. Once in a while, if I like, depending on the like when I'm around my mom, I'll swear once in a while because she swears. But other than that, like nah.
Most people is like when they're around their mom, they don't swear.
No,
Your mom is the release,
Yeah,
release. Yeah, that's the kind of.
I think we said once.
Did I apologize after?
It
What did I say? What word?
was the F word.
No way. What were we talking about?
Someone who we worked with before.
Okay. I don't remember this.
What the hell?
It's not related to them.
Yeah.
It's the situation.
The situation, yeah.
It wasn't about them. It's not about them.
Yeah.
But I feel
Okay.
like if you can say vulgarities or actually it's not even a point of saying profanities. It's about
Sling,
dude, you're like doing 5 already.
No,
Oh my
okay.
god, what the heck?
This is like 4 already.
I'll tell you what, with cocktails, I can go quickly in beer. But if this
Thank
was
you so
just
much.
like straight
This guy that is helping us
Nemo
mix the drink, he's like
some of these are pre-mixed by the bartenders, and then
That is
the
crazy,
rest.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is how
It's very okay. Yeah.
it's nice.
It's nice.
Okay,
It's nice.
okay.
It's strong. It's very strong, but it's nice.
That's right.
I don't even understand. Like, normally strong is like very bitter.
Or sour.
Yeah. But this one is like, it's very strong, but it's nice.
Mm.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah, this is normally how I drink.
Yeah.
What's one next?
Sling, if you got it.
Sling.
Same.
Yeah,
same,
two slings, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
We can bring him for every podcast, and you can just be the bartender.
Wow. Dude, everybody will get smashed, man. Yeah.
He's an intern.
Oh, is he in charge of the TikTok?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
I mean, the whole interns are.
Yeah.
But it's only 19.
Right. That's perfect. They know everything. They know the secret juice, of the Gen Z.
interns are great.
Yeah.
Johnson's like the master of the interns.
Yeah.
Like he
Lord of the intern.
Yeah.
The fellowship of the intern.
Yeah, something like this. But I think it's good exposure for them, and it's a positive thing overall.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking also, because like as I'm like trying to figure out like, okay, like
You should have an intern.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like
For real though.
Get an
yeah,
intern.
because I can figure out all the serious stuff,
No, I don't mean like.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean to just set it up. I mean like get an intern to like show them, but then they will show you something. I
No,
guarantee.
because
Like,
the
like,
you're cutting your videos, for example,
Yes,
see
there you go.
done differently
Yeah.
for TikTok.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like the intern, someone at the age could be like, we have a different idea.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
I mean,
why.
it's hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie. But
Dude, I want to tell you this, man.
hiring is like that lah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hiring.
I
No one
think
gets it right all the way.
I think Gen Z, right, has the keys to this new wave of marketing. But the problem is, right, some of them are just not reliable, man. Job reliability is so important, dude.
No, you know what? This problem.
Yeah.
Gen Zs don't care.
Yeah.
The-
About anything.
about anything. They don't care about. To them, it's I will quit tomorrow if it can be, and I'll get another job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To them, there's no loyalty. I mean, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of like things that millennials hold dear to.
Yeah.
Gen Zs are like, I'm here for the vibes. The moment the vibe is out, I'm out.
Damn. Dude, you
I mean,
No,
I don't know if I agree with all this, but it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear Gen Z critique Gen Zs.
Dude, I got so many Gen Z on this podcast critiquing Gen Zs,
No,
man.
but it's not even critiquing. It's
It's a fact of a matter, man.
Leaves. To them is I don't care. I'm taking a mental health day when I want, whenever I want.
But that's not
PTO.
a bad thing.
Sure. But to them is more work from home, less coming to work visibly, and that goes into the whole of like.
But how do they even survive the workplace? Or they don't?
They don't.
No, so I think
but it's true, they don't-
no. Here's my take on. Here's my hot take on it.
Okay, here,
Tell me if you don't agree with this.
tell me.
They are highlighting the errors of the workplace that have been in place since. I'm Gen X, I think.
I'm Gen X.
Yeah, we're Gen X. Okay, nice. That even before us. So from that generation to us, a lot of issues that weren't addressed, millennials picked up, and then Gen Zs are just like, nah. But they're not wrong in that. But then the older generation and Johnson criticized them of like, you don't know. But I'm not of the thinking of you have to go through a bad experience to want to eliminate it. You can view it and know it and just be like, this is bad. You don't need to do it for 2 years to tell me that like, picking up trash is bad or whatever it is. Like you can just identify it, which they have, because they haven't been jaded like us.
Yeah.
And be like, no, this is it. This is
we
what
can
it takes.
we can power through, man.
Nah,
Power through.
It's not it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a good thing that will even out the workplace in a positive way. And like I tell anybody who works for me, like those mental health day things, I think are very real and should be put in place, because the truth is they will take it regardless. They will either overwork themselves and then get physically sick, or they will be checked out when they come in, or they will take the MC, or they will just like check out. Like the company will pay for it any which way, right? So this whole idea of like, I'm not talking about people who strategically take MC. I'm talking about
Christmas Day.
yeah, like every Friday, what a coincidence. I'm talking about like the people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people that like need that time to get balanced and focused to come back to work.
Right.
I will give them that time 10 out of 10.
I
And
think they
there's no
must
point
earn they must earn your respect in the beginning.
No,
right?
no,
To
given,
the trust.
given.
Oh, it's given.
Trust is given.
Damn.
And then it's basically, you know, that teacher that's like, everybody has an A+, and everyone's like, yeah. And then it's like, well, it's only down from here if you mess up. And so I think it's gotta be given. And then see how they behave. Yeah.
But you don't put like a limit on the PTO or something.
So I mean, by contract, it's there, but I personally do not, just because it balances out anyways. There's no point to it, and I want somebody to be successful. I want them to take that time. So even though it's not in the contract, maybe it should be.
Yeah.
But that mental health day or whatever it is, personal time
off
Just
PTO,
take it.
right?
Honestly, he does get it.
Yeah, like I'd rather that than somebody be like, I'm sick, or I'm just not sure. Yeah, I'm just there's like, because in the States, like here's the big difference. When I first moved here, I remember the first time I got sick, and like I was just like, I'm at home sick. I'm taking like Tylenol, and I'm like sleeping. I got fever, and then I went in like the next day, and they're like, "Where's your MC?" And I'm like, "No, I was sick." And they're like, You got to go to the doctor." I'm like, "Why?"
In US.
Like, no, here.
Here.
And I was like, "What?" Because in the US, you
call in sick, right?
Yeah, like you text or whatever, and you're like, I'm not feeling well. And
Boom.
that's it. If you go to the doctor, you are really sick. like you are just like almost hospital like sick. But here it's a bit different. So if you need time but you're not sick, don't go through the charade of going to a doctor. Just tell me you need a moment. You don't have to tell me what's going on.
Actually,
And you'll get that.
Even and so there were sometimes where I didn't take MC like at all, but I was actually sick, but I only had like either charcoal pills or had like Panadol at home. So I just told her I'm sick. I'm on MC, but I didn't take MC.
Okay, this is bad because people that are sick shouldn't be working.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's a weird like back and forth. Like in Singapore, people will work when they're sick when they shouldn't, because then they get other people sick and the work level goes down. Or take a time when they're not sick when they should be working, or just take that as a personal day or a holiday. I don't encourage people working when they're sick. You should not be doing that.
I worked 5 years at Zook. I didn't take 1 day of MC.
Wow.
I'm sick as
Is it
shit.
because you've been sick since day one? Like,
Sick of this shit.
They won't let me take. They wheel you out there.
One day I took MC because I'm sick since day one.
You
Damn.
got the IV drip next to you, just like
They thought that one is my alcohol. They thought that was my alcohol.
Yeah. One bag is IV, one bag is alcohol.
No, one is alcohol, one is mixer. Yeah.
That would be pretty epic.
That would be pretty
That
epic.
would be
Yeah.
epic.
That's my next Halloween costume, man. I have IV drip in
The
my
sick
mouth.
DJ.
Yeah, the sick DJ.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah. Like right now, like what you say, I totally agree, man. Like Gen Z kind of exposes the weakness in the corporate structure, right? Like it's too
The environment,
yeah, it's
the
too
culture.
rigid. Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah. I think US is a little bit too freestyle already. People is like play punk, and then Singapore is a little bit too strict, and people don't dare to take MC. So if like we can in the middle, right, integrate the best of both worlds.
Where else in the world could you have this integration? Really, like I think that's where I can take things that I learned and adapted to in the US to Singapore.
Yeah.
But not in its entirety. I remember my first management job. So I worked at the Shangri-La. Working at all the hotels. And I remember it was like F&B kind of gig, but I had a team that was there and when I started. And I came with the American style. Like, hey guys, I'm here. Go do your thing. All right. And then break. And then everyone's like, what's going on? And they're like, we usually do a stand-up in the morning. And I'm like, why?
Huh?
And they're like, to tell you what we're doing for the day. And I was like, why? And they're like, don't you want to know? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But like, you don't have to check in with me every day, every second. I was like, go do it. And that's a terrible technique of management of like, because not only just for Singapore, but in general, it's like that when you're too hands off as a manager, it doesn't help that person as much as you think it might be helping. It's not like you're there for them when you need them. You need to check in with them. And so totally fail on that where like people are just like, oh, Tyler just, he doesn't care or whatever. And it's like, no, I care, but you didn't tell me. And they're like, well, you haven't been checking in or whatever it was. And so then I realized after that, I was like, oh, I need to be more hands-on with it, so people feel that, you know, I'm checking in, that there's a presence, how can I help you? But that was the American style of just like, if you have something to say it. And nobody said anything, so I was like, everybody's good.
But
everything's going
But
great.
in Asia, we don't say, you know,
No,
it's
no,
like,
no,
"Hey, any questions? Nobody, you know?
No, so that's why, like, when
Yeah.
we do meetings, you go around. So, like, we have one of the policies of, like, you either participate or just opt out. If you're not going to be active in the meeting, why be in the meeting, really? And so everybody's expected to talk and say something. And if you don't have anything to say, like, for multiple meetings, you don't need to be in the meeting, right? We can do a summary email to you or whatever. So the meeting culture, I hate in general. Like, it's not good, but there's ways to make it better and to like make everybody's time valuable.
Yeah, right.
You know, 5 people, 1 hour, 5 hours of company time spent.
Yeah.
Did you accomplish as much as you wanted to in that 5
Precisely.
hours?
The ROI.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I've been in meetings with 15 people and 4 people were talking and it went on for an hour. And I was like, what is, no, this can't be it. And so if you have the ability, either get out of the meetings, or if you can call the meetings, stop those meetings. Like, make them productive. Yeah. I feel very strongly about
I
this.
know, right?
But
I've sat through enough meetings where I'm just like, what is the point?
when you have a small team, right, everybody's role become more increasingly important, right? Then
Well, jack of all trades, kind of, you know,
Yeah.
if it's a small company or startup culture,
yeah.
you got to do a lot of different stuff. True.
And then your meeting has to be more personalized in a way. You can't do that American style where it's like, okay, today this, then everybody go and do it. You really need to check in individually more.
We'll set the purpose. Like,
Yeah.
what's the agenda? What are you trying to achieve?
Mm.
What's the follow-up? If you don't have that documented, never mind. Don't even do the meeting. And if you need a checkup meeting, then you probably aren't close enough to the business to understand what's going on. If I have to check with you every day what you're doing, we don't have things in place where you can update me without taking my time. I can do it on my time. Shared documents, we can go through it.
Right.
There's ways to get, could it be an email? Was a trending thing. I don't know when, but it's
like
so
Slack,
true,
huh?
right? And so don't micromanage, but have ways to know what's going on with your team. Yeah, very
Right.
important.
Other than email, maybe like shared Google Docs or whatever, you know, like if the person is done, you can see it in the file, you know, you don't even need to check out the person.
Talk about finance, like P&L.
Yeah.
You can create a dashboard in like 2 hours showing the profit and the loss and what's the, you know, what was the revenue, and it can be there. So if anybody wants to know what we did, that transparency is there. It's very important. Or else, like, it's shocking, like, people don't know what we're making, or, you know, like, why hide that stuff to the team? I want them to know, kind of,
Also, the P&L is open to the whole team.
essentially.
Damn. I think that's the right way. But
I mean, maybe not the interns, sorry, Nemo. But.
yeah. Yeah. But
So, like, let me clarify. Salary is obviously covered, not like, you can't have everything so transparent if there's other things.
Although
But
that's a Gen Z thing too.
But yeah, so actually there's some companies that do it. But in terms of, like, I think everybody has the right to know how we're trending and how we're doing. What's the revenue and are we making money? So when I first joined Tanglin, the goal was to, like, be profitable so that we can continue to keep going as we're going. And I wanted people to see, if I say you're a head of ops, if you can't see that, how can I really help you and how can you help yourself to, like, make it profitable? You need to have that visibility and then be like, oh, it's actually Saturdays are really bad and this cocktail is not selling, and whatever it is. And then you go data informed and kind of nail it.
right.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's maybe not such a common thing that I've seen. Only a couple companies have done that. I remember the company that did it for me, I used to work at Little Farms. Remember that meeting, like, the CEO is ex Goldman Sachs, which is finance. So he's a finance guy, and he, like, sat down and he's like, he hated presentations, which I loved because I hate presentations. And he just pulls up the whole P&L, like, in front of everybody. He's like, guys, this is what we made this month. This is what we made a year, like, last year on it. And he's like, you guys need to see this because we need to do better here. And then I was like, yeah, like, that's the way to do it.
He's like so little, right? But it speaks volumes, you know. Yeah. And so many companies are not sharing this. But it's not common. I don't understand why. Maybe, I don't know why. Like, maybe is it because some companies are so big that they don't want everybody to know?
It's honestly
And then the competitors will know?
gatekeeping.
Ah.
You think it's gay? Yeah, I think there's maybe some of that.
I think it's a very Asian thing to gatekeep a lot of things because
From your own people?
it's
Damn.
security, because it's like means then you can take my job, like
Possibly.
then they feel like the boss under you share, right? Then they feel like, oh, then they can take more from you. Then your job security gets less and less. Yeah, that's one. I mean, that's where I'm.
The other thing is, I think a lot of times they don't even know.
Oh,
Like I've been
they
at
got
companies,
gatekeep themselves.
I've been at companies I will not name where like the C-suites didn't know. And then it's like, well, who's keeping track of what's going on?
Yeah.
And so you don't need a business degree or like to understand a P&L. Like it's quite straightforward, but like you need to go through it. And I think it's important to go through it with your team because that translates to what you need to do thereafter.
Yeah.
Right. It's not there to like scare or whatever, but I think it's important. Yeah.
Because this can also be applied to countries, right? Because I think in the country of Norway or starting from N on, I forget already, some European country, they put their national, no, not Netherlands, I think it should be Norway. They put like their national debt or something on their like Norway bank or something.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
like the whole country can view it. Yeah, and then it's like, how well are we doing? Yeah. And how much I think it's like how much the bank reserve or whatever. It's a long number and everybody can keep track. And a lot of it, the economy actually revolves around that number. Yeah, so whether people want to invest or not, So that's like country level,
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
But doesn't it make you feel a bit more part of it? Right?
Yeah, very
that
transparent.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The transparency, I think, should be dialed up a bit here. I think it's important.
Yeah, so I think we could work on a little bit more transparency while at the same time still try to keep that, what do you call that, like, at anonymity or privacy to your competitors, confidentiality.
Sure.
Yeah. So how do you like review to your people without them telling another competitor company, like they quit, boom, they go and inform the other company?
Well, I mean,
Right.
probably like don't share all those documents. You can highlight them. You can talk about them in a meeting. At the end of the day, I really feel that it's not a disadvantage necessarily for somebody to know what somebody else is doing. Say like you had a club and you knew this club was making
X amount.
10x. What are you gonna like? Are you gonna do something different because of that fact?
Yeah.
You're gonna do something different anyways because you see your P&L. And so I don't know how much it changed. But I agree, like you can't have people sharing.
But and sometimes it cannot be replicated. Yeah, sometimes it cannot be replicated.
Yeah, you can't.
Like you look at going back to Zook at Jakim, you want to make another club like that, right? Well, it's going to take you many, many years, because of all the communities, all the kind of things that they build long term, right? You can't just like simply replicate that.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So build a community, build something long term, and then you can literally show the whole world how you exactly do it, but nobody can copy you. God damn. Yeah. So now we focus on Tanglin Gin. What is the advantage of having a distillery together with your bar? Is that
separate buildings.
Yeah.
So close by, all the same property. And then we also have like a tennis court, which now got approved for pickleball. So we'll do those tournaments as well.
Nice.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Wait, you Tanglin Gin owns that?
Yeah, we own all that land there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe paintball. No, I'm joking. Just the court.
Yeah.
Well, it's unique. Only a handful of places have that. I think it's just really, I think that are making it. It's just us and Brass Lion that have that like distillery with a bar kind of close by. For us, what makes us unique is the space. It's like really unique space. You've been there.
Yeah.
You've seen it. We have a full-on bar, and we have teamed up with Cold Sliders who make the food. People can go and they can get a tour of the distillery. They can do a tasting to try everything, and then we operate as a bar or a restaurant would. So those would be the unique selling points. We're indoor, outdoor. We do DJs on the weekends now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's the new thing.
It's kind of new. When I first started, we were doing live music. Red Dot, which is right next to us, and they have a larger outdoor space. like 5 times. They do live music really well. And so for us, because we have limited space outdoor, I was like, maybe we do music that can be indoor, outdoor, and still engaging. And so we started with the DJs, and it's been going pretty well.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue. I think we're going to do, like, we're doing something later this week. And then I would be open to guest DJs, kind of like obviously not as epic as like
maybe like a C or B tier kind of international act, maybe.
Or just like the vibe is different, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
obviously I'm not trying to compete with the clubs.
Yeah.
But like take like a collective minds kind of vibe, but like tone it down a bit and make it more intimate.
Yeah.
We could do that because we have the space. And so we'll be doing stuff like that. Shout out to Collective Minds.
Yeah. Cool, man.
We were talking about collectives.
We love collective minds. We love collectives in general.
Yeah.
I wanted to do shout outs the whole time to people, but I just forgot.
Collectives are really super steep clubs, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, like
But
generally.
What do you think was the secret sauce behind why people are now more supportive of collective as compared to like clubs? Like people don't actually go clubbing now, if you think about it, right?
Unless you go guest list.
Or a collective is there.
Correct.
Yeah, but why is that so?
I got a theory.
You go first.
Okay.
Wait. No, you go.
Because we come from a time we actually go clubbing for clubbing's sake, you know.
Yeah.
We go down there because we want to meet our friends.
That's
we
right.
don't have like fucking Facebook and shit, you know.
Okay, I feel like back then, people didn't used to pay. Then after COVID, obviously came in with the whole $85, $75, $55 tier.
He's going to...
And then I think last
increased ticket prices right after COVID.
and it worked because people, 2 generations didn't go
Revenge spending.
revenge clubbing. So they clubbed and everything, and then after that they were like, I don't club anymore, or I want to club, I don't pay. So then spending went down.
Drastically after 3 months, right?
So many clubs prices were still here. So they saw empty spaces. Yeah. And then after a while, then they free entry, then it's going back up now.
And that's where the pop-up collective take over lah.
Correct. But by then the collective is really too I mean, you said Amy popped up, it's no longer happening and whatnot. But I think collective minds and so many others like
So many unfiltered chambers.
Parties, these people are still go strong because they have a community. They have a building, something like what you're doing now. It's a recurring customers. It's not you one person coming on February, you hope they come in the next week. These are people that you engage continually. They always keep coming. It's almost like a familiar face. Yeah. It's not someone like a stranger you see. Yeah.
Would you say that right now, right, the way to get clubbing people into the club, right, is to kind of like engage them on a regular basis on social media so that when you finally reach out to them in real life, right, you will not be like cold calling like that, like what most clubs are actually doing. Right. Most clubs are actually cold calling. Yeah. Right. Yes, now your perspective.
No, that's an interesting hot take. I think the COVID thing threw a lot of like curveballs, I would say, to the industry. The reason I believe it's not happening is who are the teams in the clubs that are programming, that are paying attention
like artists
to the night, like a collective would do.
Who
are the teams that are not only getting the acts, but then reaching out, then keeping that community engaged? How many clubs now even have that team that do it well? So that's your answer to why the collectives have that opening now to come in and be like, we already have the database. We have the people. They know what they're gonna get a quality night when they come to our nights, and we're putting in all this time and effort. I think that probably is more rare now than it was before. And it's such an important aspect of clubbing.
I think another hot take, right, is that because the owner of the collective, they own the collective. So there's ownership, right? So they put in more effort. Whereas an employee of a club, right, they don't own the property.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Money that night, you're not eating the next week.
Yeah.
You own that thing, but you know.
Yeah. Right. So they don't have that like do or die reflex, you know. Or a lot of times for collective is really like, wow, shit, if nobody is here, I literally will make a loss, you know, I'll negative $1,000 or something. And they will like call everybody.
Well, the collective can make the decision as well.
Yes, correct.
So in a company, you got to go
rank and file.
Whoever, is this good? Then somebody doesn't like it. We don't think, oh, what did we do last time? And then it's just kind of like sucks the life out of it. And so
But clubs are also important because they are technically landlords, right? For all these parties to happen.
But then they are also the renters for the bigger landlord, which is capital land. So I guess small fish come and eat them by the big fish.
So maybe big landlord sell to medium landlord sell to collective. Maybe.
No, that is some of the schemes right now.
I have to, right?
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not really, I wouldn't say landlord because they don't own the land. Which I think at least they did, right?
Yeah.
This one they did. The current one or the ones.
But I'm looking at a lot of like underground collectives, right? Like Unmute Singapore and 5 to 10 p.m. They are very engaged in that whole underground clubbing, what do you even call it? Ecosystem, like HQ, Tough Club, Modular. And Clement, who's our friend, he owns all 4 of them. So he's technically like landlord. And then he's just like leasing it out to all these collectives to do events, you know? Yeah.
So what's the bonding factor you think of those collectives?
I think firstly is underground. Yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's not just music, but also like identity. Like, you know, we all love this music that people don't know and don't resonate with. So then they were like, hey, you are like different, you know. And then eventually they start to realize that, hey, we also think differently about things, like about life, about politics or whatever. And then they actually have like a stronger bond. Because I recently did a podcast with Chris Shearman from Wild Pearls. I don't know if you know the collective. The one riding the bicycle, then there's a cart in front, and the DJ is in front, and he's riding the DJ around, and there's 2 speakers, there's 60 people following them.
Dude, Tanglin was gonna with him. I texted him.
Yeah.
We'll have Tanglin bottles on them.
Yeah.
So I told come over to the bar.
Wait, is this the guy from like Europe or this is a local guy?
UK.
Yeah.
UK.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I've
He's
seen
super
those videos.
Dude, you should see the podcast, man. I'm like his child. I'm like so small size compared to him. He's humongous. Yeah, when he's sitting here. Yeah. And he basically said this about the underground community, right? Okay, we all love a specific kind of music that not everybody likes or have access to, right? And then we are gathered in this space. But if it's just the music alone, right, we wouldn't be able to be friends for a long time, you know? So we are gathered here and then we start talking to each other and then we realize that, hey, we have alternative thinking about everything in life, you know, about cooking, about politics, about the way we do laundry or something like that. And then eventually they start to form a closer bond and then they actually become friends for real. And on the surface, it looks like the music is bonding them, but it's actually deeper than that. Yeah. So the music was like an introduction to all these people that are considered like the outcasts. Oh, y'all don't like Lady Gaga, you don't like Bruno Mars, what the hell, you know? Everybody will be like, the hell, what kind of music do you guys listening to? You know, it's like intergalactic, you know, that kind of, yeah. And then, you know, half the time I'm there, I'm partying with them, you know. So I'm like a, you know.
So that's his take.
Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense because if it's just the music alone, right? Everybody can like music, right? But then it's so surface level. How do you like every week come back together, you know? Imagine you like the music, but you don't like this guy's face, you know? Then you wouldn't want to party with him, right?
Well, let me ask you this: if the music changed, would they still go?
Maybe. Then you know that the bond is really deep.
Lady Gaga song needs to go. then see what people react.
No, and also right, they one thing that he said right was that if it was commercial music, right, it's harder to build this kind of bond because it will be the venue will be filled with people that love the music and don't care about the music because it's commercial. They're just there for a good time, you know. They might not like the music, but a lot of people like the music and then, you know, influence. Like as a DJ, you know, it's easier to DJ to 5,000 people than 10 people because as long as 100 people dance, they can influence the rest of the 4,000 people to dance, you know. Yeah, it's very evident in Zouk Out, you know. Zouk Out, I just play an 85 BPM song, everybody go insane. Dude.
Zouk Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, man. It was a good time while it lasted. Yeah. So I guess that's why collective is important because it's like a premix. It's like a premix, you know, like a premix group of audience is really ready to go, and you just need to book the DJ and they're here.
I feel like underdogs. Like they're like, yeah.
No, you'll always have the anti.
Yeah.
You like in any which way.
Yeah.
Like you will always have the group that wants to do something different for whatever reason.
Right.
But I think that's the mentality and that's the bond. But I think it has to start with the music. It has to be, you know what I mean? It's like an art show or something. Like it has to be that and then you most likely have more things in common, right? Like that, like you have that one thing that's like at the core. I think collectives are great. I think like they can maneuver. It's like a startup. They can maneuver differently than a larger company, and they can go do stuff, and they're gonna do it their way. Like I watched that podcast that you had with like the old versus new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. But like, I think the younger crew just kind of like, yeah, we're just gonna like they don't even need to listen to the old people. They're just gonna do what they're gonna do. Like it's like great advice, but this is kind of our time now. Which is right. Yeah. Again, music is for the youth.
Yeah.
Marketing for the youth. Like go.
Correct. So now it brings me to another point. Like, so now what can old people enjoy? As you get older, it's like the lesser things you can enjoy, man.
Community club.
Can go and do Tai Chi. Can go and do Tai Chi.
But when you're interested changes, right?
Yeah.
Like you're probably not wanting to go do the same stuff.
Yeah.
Most of it. And so that's what it is.
I think maybe the older I get, right, I kind of more detached from pop culture and more into the underground scene.
Really?
Yeah. I guess maybe from turntablism background, you have a keen curiosity for the left field, like how can you make something that is so unknown, right? And like make people like it. In a way you can manipulate it, I believe you have some of that kind of.
Well, I think for like I've been called a contrarian before.
Yeah.
So like kind of go in the opposite direction. The turntablism thing for me, what sparked it was it's an instrument. It's a musical instrument now that can be played, which blew my mind. Like the ISPs and like the X-Men, turned into Executioners, all these guys did crazy stuff that had never been done before, right? Like it was brand new.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me.
Damn, ISP, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
Executioners, X-Men, oh my god, bring back memories, man. Yeah, back in the day, every time when I go to like NUS or wherever to give a talk about DJing, right, I say, hey guys, back in the day, I used to do this thing called practice. Now it's like pointless, Now just need to feel your social media and shit, man.
You look at the competitions now, they got you can use Serato, you can use the cheat buttons to go back. And then it's like, if I can get any sound, why do I need to create the sounds? So it's a bit different now.
Yeah, I was just doing a podcast, like virtual podcast with Red Bull 3 Styles world champion, SK83. And then he's saying that Germany, Berlin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then he's saying that now you can do so many tone plays, right? That sometimes, right, people is not even pressing the right buttons. Right. It's like it's really pre-played and they are just miming, they're just acting like they're doing something.
It's like a Zuka set.
Oh shit! I mean, we have
but rightfully so. Right?
We have so many exposes on this channel.
I mean, I'm not saying anything new. It needs to be programmed.
It's not
for the fireworks and the lights.
It is. Yeah, it's festivals everywhere around the world.
Yeah, it's weird to think that like that didn't really exist, even the festival level and like what's going on now, 10 years ago.
Like what?
Like the big, like the huge name DJ. Maybe 10 is too early. 20 years ago, because you couldn't do what they do now. You couldn't put those sets together with the visuals and the exposure and the touring and go around. Then now you got these 25 people that go around the world constantly. Just playing music. I think this goes to like why clubs maybe are on the decline, because
it's always the same headliners.
Well, if I don't catch them now, I'll catch them later. Catch them in Taiwan or wherever, and so it doesn't have that like element to it as much.
So I guess now it's time for the rise of pop-up collectives are on the rise, and maybe invite-only parties are the way to go, man.
Invite-onlys.
Yeah, man. That's the way. Yeah. And then, you can get a lot of things from online. You can make friends online. You can experience clubbing online. Why do I have to like invest my time to come down? Wow, they really need a very, very strong reason to, lift their ass off their sofa, man. And somehow we still haven't figured it out yet. Yeah. Even I'm like, okay, so how am I supposed to like convince someone to come down to my event? It's also quite a huge difficulty also.
What was the last event you did?
Yeah. I stopped event the beginning of this year. I did monthly events for 2 years in a row. But then I just felt like it was firstly not profitable, and secondly, right, it's like it's not building community in any way.
You know what would be cool? I mean, we don't have to put this out on the YouTube, but like you did a live podcast in a big space with the crowd. And like maybe you had a couple guests that did the rotational or a couple on the panel.
Eventually, but then the thing is like I need people to care about me first, and I need people to care about the guests. You know, so it cannot be like two unknowns, like unknown A versus unknown B.
Like it's at that level now?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, I feel so. But surprisingly, right, when I'm going on a nights out, now that I'm not DJing full time, right, so I have time to go, you know, hang around, clubbing with my girlfriend, and then we are just visiting random places, right? There'll be people coming up to shake my hand like, hey, Leonard, I watch your podcast. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can't believe it, you know, because our views are not massive, like 1,000.
But what I'm saying is it's the people that are viewing it.
It's like Sniper, you know?
You hit it.
Yeah.
I don't know how the first one got to me, to be honest. But I was like, yeah, like that, like I'm into this. And like we had never met, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Suddenly I saw
your
LinkedIn.
name, I knew your name because it was mentioned at Zook, but like I didn't know.
Right.
And then I was like already hooked, right? When I watched it. So that level, and then how many people did I tell about it?
Right.
Then how many people have they gone around? Like, so it's already that word of mouth, like kind of quality of what you're doing goes way further than an algorithm or any like targeted anything you could do. And so that's what it's about. So when I say that, you do something epic in a way of that's like an expanded of your current layout is where then you get people that are already into it that would go no matter what. And then people see that and then they're like, holy crap. It doesn't matter. Like people will see you for the first time anyways, no matter what, right? They won't know you until they see you. Yeah. So that whole until I'm well known thing, I think throw that out the window. Yeah. And just be like, no, like this is the time.
I was like waiting for a specific metric, like maybe I have like a 10,000 views or something.
You don't believe that. You don't believe that because you were talking about TikTok earlier and you had your account way high, right? But it wasn't it and it wasn't right. I think you whatever the number is now is the number. Like that's the right number, right? Because it's hitting that avenue, that vein.
I actually really think about it for quite a long time because I'm tuning into like Patrick Bet David, PBD. No, not PDD. Yeah, Patrick Bet David. Basically, this entrepreneur. He has a YouTube channel called Value Town, Value Nation or something. He basically discusses business with like all sorts of entrepreneur, you know, like literally I think the guy that founded Gymshark or Elon Musk or whatever. Okay. And then eventually he had like a live podcast, you know. And similarly, like Bad Friends, I don't know if you know Bad Friends, Bobby Lee and
sure.
Oh yeah.
Dude, they are so big now. They have like a sold out podcast comedy show in Singapore coming on 26th November. And I watch them every week. Their weekly views is million. Right?
What are your feelings on that podcast?
On like the Bad Friends?
Yeah.
Dude, they're just anything, right, that is like satanic. Yeah, super unhinged. They are like racist jokes. They make fun.
This is where comedy has gone. It's gone to like the old school
like toilet
racism.
Jokes.
No, and so like it's tough. Yeah. I get it, but I will not be going to that.
I think you would prefer a little bit more informatic kind.
No, no. I love comedy. Like don't get me wrong.
Like Trevor Noah.
No, it doesn't have to be like Daily Show stuff. Like, I mean, I've been into
Russell Peters.
No, like I do like the old school stuff as well. I think like Bill Burr is funny still.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle has his moments.
Yep.
I think I was a big like Norm Macdonald fan, so like that super dry stuff I love. Yeah, like George Carlin. Like we can go back. I mean.
Wow, there's some old stuff I don't even know, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of good comedy. But right now, I feel like I'm a little disappointed with the comedy.
So I want to talk a little bit about Moonshine. What the heck is a Moonshine, yeah?
It's right beneath.
No, because Moonshine is supposed to be illegal distilling of alcohol, right? That's the definition,
yeah,
right?
Hence the name. Yeah.
I have no idea, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, so I think in the States, and I think what they adopted here was that, it was made illegally. at night, hence under the moon.
But what's the difference between make
Like-
illegally and make legally?
Well, because you need licenses. And
Or
you
just
need
basically pay
permits.
money to government?
Yeah, basically, like in any country, anywhere.
Mm.
And so if you're not doing that, technically it's moonshine. But I think the originality of moonshine was that it's like really raw, really not like somewhat dangerous, you know, if you're not mixing it well or making it well. I mean, alcohol can be dangerous if you're not mixing it well, checking the basically percentage of alcohol in it.
Dude.
And so that's where it came from. So I think it came out of the idea of making something under that kind of like, you know, the moonlight of doing something. Of course, we made it after we had the distillery and all the permits and stuff. But that's the idea behind it. So in the US, when they call it moonshine, it's like usually like a white dog, what we call like unaged. So it's like really raw out the pack. And then we make it, but our moonshine, you know, we add some flavoring, you know, apples, and it's kind of like an apple pie kind of taste, and it's a liqueur, so the proof is a little bit lower. So that's where we got the moonshine. But we're moving this one to seasonal because it really has that like holiday spirit of Christmas and
like the Starbucks
that's right,
pumpkin spice latte, right.
Kind of something like this. Yeah, so it'll be a limited run for us. And moving forward, we're going to be doing kind of like the GPSS, like limited run stuff.
Yeah.
And then just keep to our core and do that stuff for fun.
And that itself is marketing, you know. Yeah, you're not inventing the wheel or creating a brand new product. You're just like maneuvering when you drop it.
Being strategic.
Yeah, and people are suckers for it, you know.
For the people who can't see Johnson, he's pointing at me and I'm pointing back to him. I'm not just randomly pointing at things. No, I realize because every time I'm like, Johnson.
CC.
Yeah, we need like a camera.
We need a CC to
yeah. No, it's true. But also for us, I think we can only make so much with so much time and, you know, really focus on stuff. So the seasonality of things makes sense for us. That we do limited runs and then enjoy it while you can. And then next time it'll be something different. So that's what we're aiming for.
Do the owners participate in the operation of the business?
So the owners, like it's really a
really a production.
No, it's a textbook setup because these guys, 4 of them, started the company and they each have their own special focus area. So
what's the form?
Yeah, so you got Tim, who's from Australia. He's the one who created the juice core. Like, so he's the distiller. So he created all those and award winning and really special. You got Charlie, who's Dutch, who does like the marketing and branding. And they were hands-on for many years, right? Like, and setting it up. You got Andy. Andy is good on the permits and the setting up of the company and basically an all-rounder who understands all the facets of the business. And then you have Chris, who's finance, so like kind of like an acting CFO for the company. So they're all still in the loop, engaged and understanding of what we're doing for the company. And that's very helpful because they're a resource for us ultimately, and somebody that we can go to with like, hey, this has come up. What do you think of this? So I bounce all the big strategy ideas off them and we discuss it and talk about it. So I do it internally, I do it with the directors, and then we kind of move forward with the plan. So that's really nice. And it works because also like through experience, I realized that I need one direct and then I can have dotted. Because if you do direct, if I had 4 direct reports,
conflicting maybe.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult and then to update all. So they're quite understanding and flexible on that. And so I report to the guy, Andy, who lives in Singapore. The rest of them don't live in Singapore. They live abroad, but are still very much in either the things that are happening in Singapore or the areas that were outside of Singapore as well. So this coming year, we're like very focused on Taiwan and Japan. Those will be our main markets moving forward. And we're already there. We're already set up. We have distributors, but we want to kind of like double down on the activities and the stuff that we do. And it makes sense because you look at the other big players, not too big, but like big players, they want to be in Asia, right? We're already in Asia. We're already in Singapore, and we are in other areas of Asia. And so we have the advantage, and we're a spirit made in Asia. And so we want to really leverage that and move in and do as much branding that we can to let people know who we are and what we do.
But all four of them, they are not from Singapore, but what was the original idea of why all of them want to start from Singapore? Because I think European, they are very proud of their own heritage, or Australian, right? They want to like, hey, I'm from my own country, I want to build it from there.
I think you kind of, I don't know, maybe from my experience, you got to leave that at the door. You're in Singapore, which is a place I love, a place I consider a second home, and a country that welcomes foreigners to come and set things up.
Oh, the MNC policy is good, man.
I mean, what other, but also the people like accept that is what it is. And so you wouldn't find that in a lot of other places. And so these guys were all in Singapore at one time and met and talked about setting up a gin distillery, and then were able to, with their resources and their know-how, to do it. And you know, that's why we're called like the original Singapore gin. We're not trying to claim anything else than what we really were. And I think with those different guys, they were able to execute it and do it. And what other place in the world could you really do that that quickly and that effectively, and with the support of Singaporeans and like STB and like Enterprise Singapore and all these great agencies and people that were able to help us out. Like, we're very grateful for it to happen, but that was essentially their idea of like, let's set something up. They happened to be in Singapore at that point. I mean, there's options around the area, but Singapore really ticked a lot of boxes. Not only for like a setup of a company, but also for the botanicals and the process and the ingredients that go into it, that Singapore was like the perfect place to do it.
So we look at the first founder, right, who is basically the creator of the alcohol, the spirits, right? So like, for example, you have already created a series of products already. Basically, your job is done already, right? Or is
I mean, theoretically, yes.
Right. If you think about it,
we're set up for success. And like, you know, when it comes to these awards, right? Awards in general are very subjective, and like, you got to know who's voting, why they're voting, what all this stuff. So the one I really want to hone in on is the San Francisco spirits competition. So like, this is the oldest and the most reputable, and it is that way because it's a blind tasting. You don't know what you're tasting. And for me, even early days when I didn't talk about this, but like early days, I was importing craft spirits and helped set up the Secret Mermaid, which is still open, 10 years anniversary in Raffles, because I love this space. I love craft, I love spirits. They do it blind, so you're not going to get that influence on the branding, how the bottle looks, who you know, whatever. And so the fact that we were able to, with our black powder, be the most awarded Navy strength gin in the world speaks to the product, right? So to do that, you need the double gold 5 years in a row. Double gold is every judge rated it as a gold. Then you hit 3 years, then it's platinum, then double platinum, then triple platinum. So we were able to do that with the product.
Triple platinum.
Yeah. So nobody's ever done that before. So you can talk about it, but then other people are like, oh, we got this award or that. I don't get too hung up on it. But that, for me, as somebody who loves this space and is into it, shows that the quality is and has been there for a very long time. And that's what we try to maintain. So in that way, yes. But in another way, if you're from a marketing background and you know, there are products there that maybe don't hit the taste mark, but are still very popular, that's where other elements come in. But for us, I feel like we have the product, we have the momentum, we you know, a lot of things are in place for us to kind of talk about it.
So basically, the first founder, when he created this, right, he really had like the winning recipe. In a sense, right, in the beginning, right, he had the most groundwork to do to set up this amazing product, and then you can get marketers, you can get salespeople around this great product to sell. But what do you feel like is his next stage of contributing towards this company? Like, is he gonna invent new stuff?
Yeah,
probably, right?
Well, So to be determined. So our R&D will come into play. So now we have,
Right.
7 products total with the bitters, 3 gins, 3 liqueurs. Some of the limited stuff is a trial. So we put it out and we see how it's received. We have a cacao liqueur that we just will officially
we
launch.
devoured half a bottle, man, in one podcast. Yeah, in one podcast.
Yeah, so it's nice.
That's
right?
crazy, dude. But actually, the orange is number one.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So we'll trial and error stuff, but we feel like as a gin lineup, we have what we really like and what we want, and then everything else will kind of be the icing on the cake. But like it's very difficult to keep something consistent.
Yes.
And I think any distiller that you talk to will agree with that. And so that for us is paramount. And I don't think it's just about inventing the next thing and the next thing. It's like really treating what we have as something special.
Yeah, that's true. I just had like a 5-second sneak peek of your distillery. Oh my god, it's some chemistry lab, and like yeah, it's like the technicality involved. Like for example, okay, today I can create this bottle, right?
We gotta try this later.
Can I create the same exact one? The next batch. It definitely has its own challenges.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. I cannot even begin to fathom what kind of like processes that it requires. There's like so many steps. Yeah. Do you foresee one day that, I don't know, like there's so many gin brands around in the world, right?
100%.
Yeah, there's so many. So I don't know, like when we talk about music, AI is replacing music producers, filmmakers, AI is, so what's your biggest hurdle in the upcoming future when it comes to the gin business?
Good question. I think it's in our hands. I really believe in the product, but getting it out to the right audience. I don't think you could AI this. I don't think I think even if you gave somebody the recipe, depending on the equipment and their capabilities, they couldn't replicate it. So I think for us, like the biggest challenge is I want to put Singapore on the map for distilling. There's so many great things about Singapore, especially around F&B. And there's a lot of smart, talented people that live here from all over the world, including from Singapore. And I think that is not talked about or shouted out enough, not even close. And I get the modesty of it, but as an American, I can tell you, like, sometimes you don't need to be so modest, and you just need to shout about it and like get it out. So I'll be that obnoxious American and say, there's so many great companies out there, and there's a lot that are in Singapore that I already like we recently worked with Prefer, which is like the non-coffee bean coffee. I love this beverage brand called Flojo, which is another one which I absolutely drink every day. I like a lot of the other brands that have come out of Singapore or that are coming out of Singapore, and whatever it is, we need to shout about that as much as possible in a way that is not being modest. It's just like this, like my goal is basically to put us on the map for distilling. If I can do that for all the distilleries in collaboration with them, I will feel like I did a job well done. And why not, right? Because if the product is there, if other places around the world can do it, which they are, and they're pushing, and the Singapore government is supporting us, right, and want us to be successful, we should make it happen.
If you have a genuinely good product, right, you should be proud about it, right? Because there's so many people out there successfully shouting out about their shit product, and it's still doing so well, So I think the more you should shout out about your product. And I believe that if you can successfully make a Singapore distillery a thing of like an international thing, right? Like people all around the world, will be like talking about Singapore distillery, about like how they will talk about French baguette,
That's right.
Dude, then other industry will be like, hey Tyler, can you make my club famous? Something or you can make my bakery famous or something, like
it's happened. It's happened, and it's
related
happening.
skills,
there's no, and like talk about the weather and other spirits, rums and whiskeys and aging, like really the sky's the limit. For us, we'll always be core gin, but we're always exploring and looking at other things. And really, like, I think there's no better place to do it than Singapore. and we have everything in place to make it happen.
With a name like Tanglin Gin, will it become Tanglin Whiskey one day?
No, so I don't think it will be Tanglin Whiskey. I think if we branch out, it could be like a Tanglin Spirits or something like this. But I think Tanglin Gin, it's okay to be like a Tanglin Gin and have other, like we already have liqueurs and bitters and stuff we do. And so I think that's okay. Of course, like you need to have that gin or something else because there's a Tanglin area already. Like you can't just can't just own Tanglin.
If it's gin, then I think it's
Maybe.
Rum, vodka, something else.
So here's the other thing.
Another Chinese name.
Well, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know. So we do white label.
What's white label?
So white label is basically companies or people will come to us and say, I want a vodka, I want a gin, I want a rum or whatever. Can you make it for us? And then we go through the whole flavor profiling.
Or based on what they want.
What they want.
Oh.
And then we make it and then it's branded for them.
Oh.
So we've worked with, I don't want to drop any names, but like the biggest hotels in Singapore in the world.
Damn.
And done this for them. And also people that want their own brand, right? But they don't have a distillery. And then we create something with them that's special. And then we can do our bottles, a variation, labels, whatever it is. And so this is also an avenue for us that we've been doing, that we'll continue to do and explore. And it's kind of fun for us because then we get to create new things with people that have their own ideas and where they want to go with it. So white label is.
But do they kind of like privatize that idea? So they make you sign like a NDA or something like, hey, I give you this recipe to make okay, example, right? Let's just say like Shangri-La Hotel, example. Give you a recipe or something. Okay, can you make a Shangri-La gin? And then you make it, right? Then they tell you that, okay, you cannot copy my recipe now. Is there such thing?
So it's not like we're making it. So it's their recommendation and vision, but they're not making it.
Or the final product
well, we have to make it,
right.
but it's theirs. It's theirs completely.
Mm-hmm.
And we will not replicate it or touch it or do anything with it.
Yep.
And so that's the beauty of it. And so
yep.
like a Shangri-La, and I used to work at Shangri-La, and so I'm very fond and they've done their own beers, they've done their own gins and stuff like that. That's theirs. And then they have that. But you have also individuals that are like, I want to do my own gin brand, but I want this flavor profile. I want pineapple to come through. We'll make that for them. Then they just take it. We make it and they take it and they brand it and then they sell it. So this is quite common for a lot of distilleries and a lot of people that want to do it.
Yeah, that's a good
So we
alternative
also have
income.
that option.
Yeah, it's like my podcast studio. I can rent out for some other people to do podcasts, and I also can earn money. Right, dude.
That's right.
Same shit, man.
I mean, maybe at some point when you get bigger, we can do a spirit just for you.
What the fuck? Yeah,
Like a revelry.
I think I'm not famous enough for this, man. Too much pressure.
Maybe at some point.
It's about the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the. We also can do small batch, like distill it.
Yeah,
So
give me like a Yakult bottle will do.
I love that quote.
So Yakult bottle enough. Shots, shots.
Maybe the Negroni or something.
Yeah, and lastly, right, we can talk a little bit about Michelin starred restaurants. Michelin starred restaurants is such a huge thing, Is there like Michelin starred bars or something like that?
Well, they have the top 50.
Oh, yeah, top 50, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
off track 120 something. I
shout
forget.
out Dean.
Yeah. They're doing pretty well, man.
No.
Yeah.
And like, I mean that's pretty great. I think they do that. They do have that for bars. I think. Yeah. I mean, for us, like it's those spirit competitions that we really believe in.
Right.
For F&B, it's but I don't think it's the end all be all. I think it really depends on the chef and the brand and what you want to achieve. Yeah, and like when you travel, say you're going to Japan, like and you're planning out your schedule, is there a Michelin restaurant in there?
There is one.
Okay.
There is one. Actually, there is one. But
okay.
I
You haven't been?
But I kind of lost my like motivation to go there because it's actually Sushi Jiro.
Yeah.
So
Dream.
Dream of Jiro, right? He's so old that he finally had to let his son take over at the age of 58. His son only.
Oh.
So no, the
son's
son
58.
is 58.
Oh.
The son is an assistant all the way to 58 years old.
Okay, yeah,
He's 98.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So you don't want to go anymore.
So I'm like, oh dude, this is it's not the fact that he's creating dope sushi, but he put 3 Michelin star sushi, right, in the world map, and he created so many 3 Michelin star chefs, like
Sure.
Sushi Saito or whatever, you know. And then it's such an inspiration to be in the presence of a master, you know.
Yeah.
And then now the master is not there, then it's like the son is like a bit like watered down, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously you passed the recipe, but then the thing is you didn't come
not
out with
the same.
this, right?
Not the same.
You know, like I want to watch Carl Cox DJ in front of me, you know. Not somebody playing Carl Cox song, you get it?
Well, let me ask you this: like, what makes a good food experience for you?
I think firstly, right, is I need to know the history. Like for example, right, let's just relate it back to music, right? Good music is always made through suffering. Like I'm so broke, but I really am so in love with this music, right? That I don't want to get a day job. I just want to create this non-stop day and night. And then constant failure. And then eventually when it exploded, right, it finally reaches your ears, right? You don't even know what I've been through, but the delivery is so authentic, so raw, I guess, in a sense. Like it's like with full sincerity and full passion, you know, that he's delivering it to you. So by knowing the history, right, makes me more compelled to go and like engage. Because at the end of the day, like we were discussing about clubbing, right? How are you supposed to convince someone to get their ass off their sofa at home to come to your event? Yeah, it's a lot about this kind of like back story about how did they even get to this point. Because like for example, if you are like born rich, right, and everything is like easy for you, right, and you don't even have to struggle, and then you just, okay, today I'm going to buy a club and I'm going to open it and bum. Then it feels a little bit not so meaningful as compared to somebody that have to like go through a lot of shit to get to where they are. You know, on the surface it might be the same, you know, hey, you open big club, the other person also open big club, right? And talking about Michelin star restaurant, yeah, but then the journey for me is very important. Obviously the food is like the basic, right? If the food tastes like shit, I wouldn't even be talking about it, you know. Yeah.
So for you, it's the story behind it.
Yeah. I think it's very important. Obviously, the food, there's a baseline, right? Like if we want to talk about Michelin star restaurant, the food must be good. If we want to talk about top 100 clubs, the music must be good. The DJ must be skillful. You know, that's like the minimum level now in today's context. But to kind of like differentiate yourself from the pack.
Can I just show something?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Super uncalled for, super crazy.
Yes.
How many of these places do you think that music, entertainment, like clubs and everything, do you think are just schemes for money washing?
I mean, that's a very good question.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you like the food, you like the music, you like the stuff, right? No place is gonna kill all of it, right? There's a new place coming up soon, Safra area, near Boki, near Clarke Quay area.
I have no bloody idea.
Yeah, soon you'll know. There'll be. It's
We're talking about.
It haven't opened yet.
Haven't yet. I went.
Okay, so he basically knows something that's not open yet.
No, wait. Are you talking about center? Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Level 1 is hawker center. Level 2 is Lala.
What's Lala?
You don't know man? Lala, the Malaysian. They'll cook the
Lok ah.
No, Lala. Oh my god.
What the hell is it? The shellfish Lala?
Shellfish one, yeah.
Oh, white shell clam. White shell clam Lala. Yeah.
Yeah. Level 3 is a club. And then level 4 is a rooftop.
Wait, all by the same owner?
And they got Safra branding.
Oh, I mean, okay. Wait. So what's the question?
Question is, I mean, that's one example, right? But I'm not saying anything about them. I'm saying that this one idea, right? There's also like High House, 3 different concepts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then Zoo also we have the Capital, which is the upper echelon. Zouk,
Right.
normal goers. Future your people who like hip hop, right?
Right.
Red Tail thing, right? You know, got a lot of concepts in one area.
That means one owner, but he built one unit that has multiple concepts lah.
Yeah, which works overseas, I think. It works really well.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Really,
Okay.
You're talking about like a one-stop shop.
One-stop
yeah,
shop.
which is something that I think you said works well overseas, right? Is it you?
Nobody else.
Wait.
This podcast.
I'm trying to link the two things.
No,
like,
no, I don't know where he's going.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this one, right? Separate side is also the whole like potential money washing. Because in KL, it's
Yeah,
very
I mean, Singapore police recently got talk about money washing, KTV or whatever, right?
yeah. Like even in KL, it's so common to
Mm.
open SMT wash money.
Yeah.
I think they tend to go with certain concepts.
Yeah.
Maybe not Michelin.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like
Because Michelin too many eyeballs on it, right? That'd be dangerous, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
and it's not gonna, make that much money necessarily.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, not to go against the money washing, but I wanted to go back to your point.
Yeah.
So, devil's advocate
Yes.
on the experience.
Yeah.
And only because there was some point in my life where I was talking to this old man, like in his 80s.
Mm.
And I think it's good to talk to old people, young people, whatever. But like, that's not a diss to you. No, but I asked him what his favorite meal was.
Right.
And like he was taken back, and then he thought about it, and then he told me this like extravagant, elaborate story. He's an American guy, about how he was in Italy and he was hiking and he was with this was like a point where he was in the military, and he went with his crew, and they went to this place and they had this epic meal at the top of whatever. He's going on, and then he finished, and then I was like, what did you have? And then he was like, I don't even remember. It was about the people and the experience, which made what I used to be just like, I don't care about any of that other stuff. Food, like food and drink. I don't care about the garnish. I don't care about I want to know how it tastes. Like that used to be my approach. Right. And then after that story, I started to change and think, oh, actually to the most epic meals, I was around people I loved and that I really cared about. And that's what was like that extra over the top. And then when I travel alone, I can have a good meal here and there, but it's not even close to the same. And then his whole point was like, he wasn't even trying to make a point. He was just telling me the story about the best meal he ever had. And this was a guy who lived and worked in New York City and like, had money and could do whatever. And he's like, it's that one meal with those people in that small town in Italy or whatever. And then I was like, okay, then it's not just one thing, right? It's got to be a combination of things and how you value those things of what it is. Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, but like none of my top meals have been at Michelin restaurants. Yeah. 1, 2, 3 star, none of them. It's always been with that circumstance, with those people, with where I was, with whatever it was. Yeah. And like, that's why I used to travel as like that foodie who was like, where's the destination or the top 50 bars? And actually it was making me sad because I was getting disappointed by the places of like going to the top whatever and the Michelin whatever. Then I just stopped. What I would do is I would pick one off the map, but recommended by a person. And then when I was there, I'd be like, where do you recommend I go for this or this or this? And then just go on the recommendations and wander. And that's where I found like my favorite bars, my favorite restaurants, my favorite, even like shops and stuff like that. That's where I got it. So I try not to I know we're in that, like, I think the question is not what's the best, is what's your favorite? Yeah. If you change the wording of it, you will get a more honest answer. Because if I'm trying to convince you what the best is everybody. Yeah. Everything. But if I tell you my favorite, now it's personal. Yeah. Now it's different. And now it's
you don't have to defend your own best.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like how many people if like I'm representing. It's like, what's the best burger in Singapore? Yeah. Who cares? What's my favorite? Maybe you want to know and you want to know why. So I'm trying to like move away from the best of kind of lists and more to what's your favorite and why. Then you get into the nuances and like the real definition of what makes something great.
And it boils it back down to community. Is when you go to a restaurant, it's not just about the food. You go to the club, it's not just about the music. It's about the 1 + 2 + 3, everything that adds up, Yeah. And back to that money washing thing, right? I actually want to address. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Because it's
what?
Like,
it's in everyone's head?
Yeah, really. Yeah, like people open
club. Even you, Nemo?
He doesn't travel. I mean, but sure.
Nemo's agreeing.
I think it's an Asian people thing, It's like the concept of your parents telling you, hey, somebody open club, come on, wash money one, right? I believe like half of it is true. I'm not so naive to not believe it is, but then the thing is I don't actually engage with it. At one point, right, there is a very high ranking person that we used to work with that I shall not name, right, was telling me that there was I shall not name. Might be at any company,
Could be
any company that I work at, so that he was telling me in my face, hey, you are very naive. And then I was like quite taken aback, like what the hell is happening? Why this sudden, and it didn't I remembered it for a very long time. And then I kind of attribute it to the fact that I truly believe that when you open an establishment like a restaurant or a club, the main product should be able to sell. If it doesn't sell and you are using an alternative way, right, then it is no longer a restaurant, a bar, or a club anymore already. So if you call yourself a restaurant, it should be able to minimally survive on putting out good food, people coming in to buy, and then you can make a profit out of it. If you can't even do that, then you're not a restaurant anymore already, right? You should be something else already. So I think maybe when I speak my mind, I might appear very pure, but I think it's for the best that we have some positivity in this very dark world right now. That's my take lah. So I don't deny that there is bad stuff happening, but I try not to engage, and I try to like what Tyler say, right, put Singapore on a map. So that we can be more known for this. And like in France, right, baguette sales is more than in Singapore for a reason, right? Because they are known for that. So why don't we make that the reason so we don't need to wash money anymore, right?
I think Singapore has got to be top 5 food destinations in the world.
I mean, just because of the race diversity, right? So we got like so many experts, right? So many experts. Yeah.
And like I name me a Singaporean that's not in food. Or they're like doesn't care about it, right?
Literally everybody here.
Right. So I think if you rate yourself on what is outside of Singapore, inside of Singapore, it skews things. But if you rate it on what is here right now, even like quality for price, what better places out there? I think you'd be hard pressed to find it. And so that, I mean, as a person who loves food and beverage, this always brings me back to Singapore. Yes, you can go out and find it elsewhere, and you can find a niche somewhere else, but Singapore has pretty much
covered like 80-90%.
Right? Like, and it keeps kind of
leveling up a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about it. Like, did Bourdain open up that hawker center in New York? I don't know if he did. I think maybe it opened after his time or whatever.
Right.
But like, you talk about people who love food that come to Singapore and their minds are blown, and then they're like, what? Like, this should be around the world or whatever it is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think Singapore is not like a specialist in anything, but we are very good at taking foreign concepts and integrate it into our own society.
That's why
like America. I was just saying, like, we're talking about pizza. Listen, America is great for taking something, changing it, and claiming that it's better. Claiming that it's better. To be determined. So we talk about pizza, right? Obviously, pizza is itself not invented by Americans, but we took the classic pizza and then turned it into something of our own, and we feel that it's as good, if not better, than whatever. And I think the similarity with Singapore is that when you have different cultures and different people, and they're in a melting pot of people trying to do different things, that's where you get that kind of inventiveness on the food and the unique takes on it that make it something slightly different than the original. And that's what I find in Singapore is it's uniquely Singaporean, you know, like in a way, but like that's what makes it great. And you could probably find the original ...
Yeah.
But you can't find this there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it awesome. Like, Singapore is definitely like a food town.
Yeah.
Like, everything is centered around food in many ways, right?
Yeah.
And so I really love that. And I think that's why I can always find great things here.
I'm not going to be like a hardcore patriotic Singaporean and claim that, you know, Japanese food, Singaporean do it better. This is... yeah. So, but hey, when I just went to Japan like a couple of weeks back, right? Dude, their sushi is like on another level. Yeah, anything in 7-Eleven is really better quality than Singapore. I mean,
Fresher.
everything fresher. Okay, I want to give you an example. Like, look at their salmon. Their salmon is like that color, that orange. And then I thought like it's not real, but it's actually wild salmon that they eat all the nutritious stuff. That's why they are so orange,
But
It tastes different. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
no, you're right. I mean,
Yeah, so obviously we cannot beat the original, but we are inching closer.
Did you find a good
Yeah.
chicken rice in
Yeah.
Japan?
No lah. So
would you
yeah,
go
like
for
the-
chicken rice?
yeah, so
Wouldn't.
I think in
What-
Singapore, right?
Would you go to Japan for chicken rice?
No, I'm saying like there's the lanes, right, of
Yeah.
different foods, right? And
Yeah.
like the great thing about what's happening in Japan is like they will over obsess about anything
Yeah.
and take it and like perfect it and whatever. But that's that take
Yeah.
there. I think Singapore also has those elements. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you're looking for sushi, yeah, you'd probably go to Japan for that sushi. But can you find good sushi in Singapore? Yes.
Yeah. Decent. Yeah, pretty decent. Yeah.
Yes. Nemo.
What?
You want more?
Oh my god, the hell! I got people reminding me
yeah.
to drink.
Yeah.
I
Nemo's like-
halfway. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Like,
Tanglin.
I got a timer.
Okay, done.
I guess my point is like, I think Singapore is underrated for food.
Correct.
Overall,
Really?
and hey, can I give you two suggestions for the podcast? One, you got the overrated, underrated aspect of things. Number two, like the Drink Champs comparisons, which is better. Nasi lemak, mee goreng, whatever it is. I think that would then you put the test to the people that are there,
Yeah.
where they have to give answers. Where it's like, I think you can make it your own or whatever it is.
I will be on it. Don't worry.
Honestly, I think it's a good idea because this is a
Yeah.
comfortable seat. You can make it hotter.
Yeah.
You could be like, tell me Carl Cox or David Guetta or whatever, and then the person's got to say, I like this. It adds an element to it.
In our first podcast, number one podcast, right?
Yeah.
Revelry podcast number one, Andrew T. We make him do
Andrew T.
Andrew T.
Butter Factory in the house.
we make him do a this or that on DJs.
Okay.
So-
I saw that.
Yeah, and then right, for every single answer, he's like Morton, until Morton management comes in and
What?
comments Morton.
What is
Yeah.
the marquee one? They always play the titanium.
Morton and David Guetta created a new genre of EDM called future rave, where it is like house mixed with trance.
I can play for you right now, everyone.
No, copyright after the podcast.
Yeah, copyright.
Yeah.
Titanium.
No, I think it like.
Titanium.
I mean, whatever. It's not even a suggestion. It's just
But it's a good idea.
No, I
No,
think
I think someone's gonna hire him. Then give him the marquee.
Yeah.
there's an Andrew T. OG.
Druti OG.
I remember like when I first moved here, like Butter Factory was in the original Butter Factory.
Yeah, Fullerton.
Yeah, and then they moved, and then Bobby and the Butter Factory guys. Anyway, great guys. They did some good stuff there because I was always below at Over Easy, like spinning before their nights.
Okay.
So I saw the crowd and the people going nuts.
Crazy.
Like, it was really good, and they I think they had something really special there. But obviously, yeah, it had its moment.
Yeah, it's a great venue. I've been there so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I had to get him as the guest, and then he's like super supportive.
Bobby.
No, for
Andrew T.
Andrew T.
you gotta get Bobby.
Yeah.
Who else? Can I give you a list of recommendations?
Yeah, of course.
You know the term where I felt like okay, it's broadening out with Andrew Ng.
Andrew
We
Ng.
had Andrew Ng here, and then him talking because yeah, previous clubs, but now like for a while not right. So it's like F&B, lo and behold,
Yeah.
UOE,
Yeah.
right. And so then I was like, okay, actually now the audience is diversifying and getting different.
Yeah,
Moving into that whole.
business aspect.
Well, I think it's important.
Thank you so much. Oh my god.
What is it, Nemo?
Gimlet.
Oh yeah, you're like this. You know what a gimlet is?
No idea. What the hell is that?
Give it a taste.
And the whole.
Wow, all the drinks all come with like garnish and everything. Walao.
That's right.
Dude,
Crazy,
even
yeah.
if
Them
you didn't
efforts,
do
yeah.
one,
Yeah,
it's
walao,
nothing.
eh.
And listen, this is on the
Listen.
go. Imagine if you come to the bar.
Yeah, the crazy, yeah. And I'm coming to the bar already,
Friday.
right?
Is it Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday. We gotta make a special.
Damn, after we finish filming, I have to tear down, return everything here, and I go to DJ at Nova. how tight is that the
Nova?
timing? Yeah, how tight is that? How tight is that timeline? 1 o'clock. Okay lah. If you guys are coming, then we can
What's Nova?
get Andrew
My
in.
house.
Hi house
And we're
Nova.
all wearing long pants, so we can go in.
You can wear shorts now. You can wear shorts now
Huh?
because Nova is a open air
Good for
concept.
you.
Yeah,
I haven't been up
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
I've been there illegally. I paid the op stuff. Cut this out.
No, I think this is all freestyle at this point.
Yeah, but
They got me out
Maybe
there
not.
by the way for free.
Report this. This man. This
I
man.
got a whole video of it. Like, I was the whole Nova Star before it. Was
Yeah, shout out Ben.
Mm.
Shout out Wayne.
6 months before.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Last time we caught up, you're like, yeah, like the high house crew, like because the ex zoo crew would like go right, like 30 years is splintered, so you
Yeah.
find them everywhere.
yeah.
I remember one time I was flying not from or to Singapore. No joke. I was in line to immigration. I think I was going, I don't know, somewhere in the US or whatever. The dude in front of me had a Zook tattoo on his leg.
What
And
the
I was
fuck?
like, yo, Zook is, and this was when I was working at Zook. So I was like, man, it's really worldwide, like everywhere.
Yeah. The brand, man.
The brand.
yeah, the
Brand is
belief.
everything.
No, honestly, this is what they all have. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, lor.
You get out.
We always fantasize about the good old times,
Yeah.
but I think it's sad that we cannot bring it back. Why don't we just focus on creating new memories?
That's
or-
right.
Right.
No,
Even if it stayed the same, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Different people,
no,
different
after that, let it
generations.
go. Let the past go. The new ones will come. There's going to be a new generation that's going to bring up what you feel like before.
Yeah, I got a good analogy for this.
What?
Go.
Are you a Disney fan at all?
Oh no.
I don't know, a bit. After
Okay.
they buy Marvel.
Okay, yeah, okay, great example. Nemo, do you know what Disney is?
I mean, yeah. But
Wait. I'm so sorry. Your name is actually Nemo. Like the fish. English name.
Based on the Pixar, which is-
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
I guess my point is
We found him.
okay, in America, like Disney for like boomer generation was massive, right? Like Walt Disney
Yep.
created something super epic, right?
Yeah.
If he was alive today, or you could wake him up, he would probably he would be blown out of the water and in good and bad ways about what Disney is now, right?
Yes.
Because he like that those same ethics and ethos are way different than what it is now. Like you got rich people saying Disney's expensive, right? Going to Disney World and stuff. So things change no
Mm.
matter what. If the brand stays, it changes.
Mm.
And Zook, even if it stayed in the same location, same owner, it would have changed. It wouldn't
Correct.
have been the same.
Adapt to the
Could
times.
not. Yeah, it could not have been the same. And so I think that maybe is lost a bit on like new ownership and new direction is, yeah, that stuff matters, but it's past. And
Yep.
the people that experience that are like 10, 20 years older,
Right.
not the same. And then the younger people that go in, not the same experience.
Yep.
I had an idea. Okay, this is off topic, but I was thinking about Mambo because the first time I saw Mambo, I was blown away because it's so uniquely Singapore.
Mm.
Never anywhere in the world has this kind of night.
Yeah. Synchronized dancing and shit.
Synchronized dancing to that
Like
time.
era of music.
Yeah,
right?
music. You know what it is now? They have TikTok nights
Yep.
where it's TikTok music that goes. But how is that really much different than?
There's an
Mambo?
evolution.
It's the evolution, and then it's international, but it's
Yeah.
still something unique and different that some places have doubled down on, but not many. But I think that would be the kind of that would be the next thing of Mambo is like that. This like 'cause
Yeah.
who else is that music is in a time capsule.
Yeah.
It's not changing, but the TikTok music forever changes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately.
We could do something at Tanglin, honestly. I mean,
What do you mean for TikTok?
She's talking about Mambo.
What are you talking about?
like actually because the Mambo people are with Jason and the rest. Like I could get them over
But what is your demographic? Is it old people or young people actually?
above 26.
Oh, no, so it's not actually young people. You're not targeting Gen Z.
They're not Gen Zs.
Oh, no, that's why
They're Gen Zs.
you can't technically do the TikTok marketing.
Well, Sunday.
No, we could because that's on purchasing of bottles.
Purchasing a bottle, younger people purchasing a bottle.
Yeah. And get this, Gen Z is going to become millennials anyway. Gen Alpha will become Gen Z soon. So it's only it's every year there's going to be
a refresh. Yes.
The scheme of things, right? Then Gen X would be Gen Boomer or whatever, right? It's going to keep moving up.
Yeah.
So to me, it's Gen Z has a downward trend of drinking alcohol.
Downward trend meaning like they stop drinking.
They don't drink alcohol anymore.
Well, not as much.
Not as much. So not to feed into that, but to solve that, it's pretty much like create game nights, create stuff like that. Then we.
Wait, can I make a recommendation just for a little bit? Can I switch places with Johnson? No, because I think it's important.
No.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I worked with Johnson was my first hire at Zook, way back when, and when I just joined the marketing department, and then he did so many great things and really evolved at Zook. And then when I left, then started at Tanglin, then I was able to bring him on board. But it's because of his perspective and really, like, when I talk about like marketing is for the youth, this is kind of what I'm talking about. I was just very curious to if Johnson was in the hot seat for maybe just 10 minutes, just so we can ask him some questions, and I can ask him some questions as well. If we can do that, I would love that.
How is it like working for a club at such a young age and then eventually going through so much and pivoting to a new company?
Wow.
Yeah.
So context, I ORD'd.
Yeah.
Then
Wait, how old are you this year?
Now I'm 24.
Oh, okay.
But I ORD'd, I was like 21. So I applied to Zook. I was like, then happy. I was like, let's apply. Then Tyler.
The worst profile pic. It looked like he was like.
No, first of all, they thought I was Indonesian. They were like,
I didn't think you're Indonesian.
you were not, but the whole team thought I was Indonesian. I was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Intoran.
Yeah.
Damn Indian.
Yeah.
And then came down to meet him at the hawker center. And then he was like, Zook is this. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, great. I was so crazy enough to like apply for like a marketing social media manager.
Yeah.
At that point in time, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Couldn't do it, the problem is I couldn't manage.
Yeah.
But now I could, but back then I couldn't. So then I had to kind of like, okay, great. Then I had to like, then he was like, how about you come in some social media exec? So I was like, great, I'll come in. So there was already an existing team. I went in, realized there's no TikTok. Social media was a bit stale. Everything was pretty like pre-COVID times. So I was like, how do I put myself inside? So TikTok. So dude, it took me like a good 1 month to get it from the old manager. The account. So I was like, okay, I took it from her, did it, and then we kind of started seeing growth. 3-4K in like 1 month. Pretty good, I think. Singapore standards wise, right? I think it's pretty good. Started going high. Then it's about like 7-8K by the end of the time I give it to my intern. Because I felt like I felt like TikTok grew according to your age. If you took it when you were 5 months ago, you're already old by the time you were 6 months ago. 6 months ahead. So you need to give it to someone younger. And that's how it should be. So I gave it to someone younger, and then it kind of grew. Then I left. Like, as in TikTok. Yeah. So this kind of what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of outgrew TikTok in a way.
Kind of. Because after a while, I was like, I don't realize the humor anymore. I was like, I laugh at it, but not because I find it funny, because I find it, I should laugh at it.
Yeah.
You know? You get it what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I find it funny, because I feel like everyone's laughing, so I should laugh at it. So that's why I feel like, okay, I don't laugh anymore.
Yeah.
I did TikTok.
Yeah, it's such a weird app, right? It's like so age specific.
Yeah.
And it's not even about like they're talking about a common topic, you know. The topic is always changing. But somehow people in this age group always understands. Yeah. So it's not really a app for the growing brand. If you know you want to build a like long lasting I don't know, a brand with
but then
longevity.
you see US, right?
Mm.
It bans it. So then how?
Use Instagram.
Then you go back to running Instagram, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of time until you start a new company, then it comes up.
Yeah, something better than Instagram. Someone beats Instagram, then everybody use the app. Lor. It's a reality, alright. People just go to the better service, the cheaper product, the better, more high quality, cheaper, better, high quality.
Yeah.
True.
True.
And then, I don't know, what's your biggest kind of like adaptation from nightlife to now day life? Dude, I had so much trouble adapting.
Dude, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in school, by the way, when I was in Zouk.
Yeah.
So when Joji cancelled Zuka,
Mm.
I was in school.
Mm.
So I ran back from school. I bought a Grab.
Mm.
I was like, run back from school. Dude, I was like, from school, I was in SIM, by the way.
Mm.
So I was in RMIT studying marketing and comms, right? Professional comms. I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, dude, Joji cancelled. People calling me left and right. Programming calling me left and right. They're like, Johnson, wait, and I was like, I'm in school. They knew I was in school from the very beginning. But it didn't matter, right?
Wait,
Because
so 5-day work week wasn't 5-day work week.
Yeah, I wasn't there during this time.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not his fault.
Okay, yeah, to be fair. No, Tyler approved of this
You going to school.
me going to school, right? But then like the next guy that came after him was like, oh, like tell me about your school thingy, what's going on. I'm like, what do you mean? It's already in HR, it's certified already. I'm there. But people are fine, people are weird, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll tell him anyway. And then it didn't matter. I was in school, Joji cancelled. I mean, how would I know Joji gonna cancel, right? And then cancelled. I know the reason why he cancelled, but I'm not saying on camera. But offline. And then cancelled. I ran back to school, spoke to Amanda, marketing, PR, and then spoke to AAG, who's our programming partner. Spoke to everyone, and I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead. And then I posted the post live, which is like, hey guys, thank you for coming to Zouk out, but Joji cancelled. Look out for Wukong. It was like, here you go, here's the thing.
Bait and switch.
Yeah.
Bait and switch. And then it kind of didn't work out, but it did for some time because people were like, oh yeah. And I kept showing them the stage. Never had been done before past Zouk out. So I was like, stage, this one. I was like, fireworks. I was like, and I used 3D work. Never been done before. So I was like, great. So they were like, wow. And then they were like amazed by it. And I was like, great. But I was in school the whole way, honestly. People don't know this, but the guy was posting a TikTok. Yeah, in school, doing his university, finish school, come back, work full time until like 10, 11. Until, if it's a guest DJ, I'm there until 4, 5 a.m.
Then next day, early in the morning, start work. Then
Dude, the worst was F1. 2022.
Yeah.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Thursday.
Thank you. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday finish, right? Mama Jumbo, Sunday.
Will.i.am.
Will.i.am on Saturday. Thursday is Wukong. Wednesday is like some random DJ, B-tier DJ. And then Sunday, I go home. Monday, go home and like 5 a.m. I sleep. I wake up like 2 hours. I come back to work the next day. Work on this the next day. Normally. Same with HQ, ops, everyone. So it's not much of a I'm tired. It's more like a we're all tired. I just
yeah. You can't call in sick like the US, man. Yeah.
No, now I'm thinking I'm like pointing.
Yeah. How's your experience now, Johnson?
Yeah, but like I mean, this is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then converting to now working at Tanglin, is there like a stark difference? Do you have more welfare?
I think once the head of marketing becomes a higher rank, I think because Tyler knows what marketing needs to do, he understands what is the whole parameters and everything.
Yeah.
So it's a bit less of explaining myself to him because he's been here before.
Yep.
It's not he's not been here before. He's been here before. He understands what it needs to be. So it's more like telling him like, here's a budget, here's what I need to do, here's what you want, here's objective.
Yep.
Bigger one, objective.
Yep.
Here's what we need to do. This is what we want to achieve. Yeah, if this is not what you want, then I'm not gonna be worried about this anymore. Next.
Yeah, I see a trend, in a lot of like Asian companies, right, versus like Western companies. Western companies a lot
when
more
you're
welfare.
talking, I don't drink a lot. I get it.
Yeah, Western companies a lot more welfare. I guess also a lot of like human rights, because like as I'm working at my company, right, then sometimes we get like a notification like, hey, France is now having a riot because like humans riot. And I'm like, what the fuck? Got such thing in Singapore? Singapore just work through your MC.
India.
Yeah. Singapore is like, yeah. If you take too much MC,
joking. Oh my god,
if you take too much MC, you probably got fired. Your job won't last. Then you'll just find the next slave to take over your job.
Yeah. Do you think Singaporeans are paid enough?
Honestly, I think you need to compare.
Yeah.
Your boss is here, man. So
that's why no. Do you understand how a culture is created for me to ask it in front of him? Because if he didn't create a culture, I wouldn't dare to ask it in front of him.
Yeah. So that's great, actually, very transparent. Honestly. But I would like to get back to the question, right? Because if we look at like US minimum wage, right, it's like $7.20 per hour, and then Trump is trying to raise it to like $17.50, which is a little bit more humane.
Yeah.
But do you think $17.50 per hour is livable in Singapore? I think maybe just bare minimum.
I mean, you will take it I mean, you're comparing American politics with Singapore, ma?
No, not even politics. I'm comparing American standards of living with Singapore standards of living. So American is $17.25 per hour, right, for the new Trump proposed minimum wage, right? Let's just say you work 40 hours per week times 4, right? It's 2.7K per month. You think 2.7K a month you can survive in Singapore?
I mean,
bare minimum,
I think
right?
You don't understand right?
You need to just everyday eat 3 meals.
Dude,
you cannot go bar, you cannot go club.
No, you buy a whole chicken in NTUC.
Meal prep.
The $7 one. You buy the whole chicken, then you cut piece by piece, and then you Monday, Tuesday.
ration.
Yeah. And then you cook the whole thing, and then you're like, potatoes.
Cannot have girlfriend, must have a football, you paint the face, then you talk to the football.
Yeah.
Cast away.
And then you cook that way, and then that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Can.
I think you can still have 3 square meals, but you just cannot add excitement to your life with minimum wage.
MSG.
Yeah. MSG, that's the only excitement.
You buy chicken stock. You buy MSG.
Yeah,
that's the only way, dude. You can't get it. You can't get it anywhere. I mean, unless you what you're doing.
But the thing is, right?
Yeah.
We say that Singaporeans are not being paid enough, right? But do we individually have enough leverage power to request for more pay? I think not, right?
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
If you're not leverage more pay, I feel I don't know if I can cancel, but I want to say it's about the current politician power, right? So I mean, if you feel like they're not doing what you want it to do, then you should vote the others, right? That's what it is.
That affects the company?
Really? I don't know.
Can Singaporeans ask for a raise as equal or even more empowered than a foreigner?
Yeah, of course.
Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that.
You're talking about something else, really.
I'm talking about something else because it's like if you ask for a raise, right? There's so many factors. Let's just say if I say that let's just say I'm the government. Okay, all Singaporeans deserve a pay raise. Then isn't there? Isn't there? It will create like a inflation in some way. Like if everybody's pay is high, is anybody's pay high now? At the end of the day, there's so many implications. And let's just say you don't vote for PAP, you vote for the opposition. Do you think the opposition can increase your pay? That's also another question, So it's actually not that easy of a question to solve. Not easy of a problem to solve.
I also feel like society as a whole, pay is not the main thing that they're caring about. You know what I mean?
I think maybe for Gen Z.
Yeah, they're caring about like healthcare, like payment wise, like Medicare, thinking about a lot of things that's less than just like, okay, one person or a whole group of people getting paid more. You know what I mean? They're thinking like, okay, education, cheaper, if you're a widow, pay lesser for education, because no husband, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things, right? Medicare, for example, if you are like a construction worker, came overseas, then how would that work out for you? Right? If let's say you die during an accident, how would that work out for you? So I think they're caring way more about than just like individual like us, for example, privileged as we are, to be like, okay, how can we give them more pay? To them, it's like, okay, great. Population is decreasing. That's a fact.
Like what?
Singaporeans
Worldwide,
are not making enough.
in Singapore.
Singaporeans are not making enough babies, right? Decreasing. There's not enough teachers to teach schools, right? So, no, honestly, not enough doctors. Dude, my friend told me. No, my friend told me.
No.
This is chaos.
I'm not being crazy right now.
Camera.
My friends told me there's not enough doctors teaching schooling and doing surgeries, right? Dude, I don't want a doctor who's like in Gen Z.
Are you sure?
ChatGPT? Really?
AI.
You're telling me your med school is ChatGPT?
I think
Get me a
you
gun.
robot.
I'll kill myself right now.
Can you robot it? There's
Oh my god.
Prometheus.
Can you imagine your operating doctor is like,
Yeah.
okay, I got.
Wait, I'll ask him, have you used ChatGPT? Yeah, bro, my whole assignment's ChatGPT. Yeah, bye-bye.
He learned from TikTok how to operate on it.
Yeah. I can't.
You've never
Yeah.
used ChatGPT for work.
I have, but it's different from life-saving work.
Yeah.
Sir, come on.
Let's leave it to the robots, I say. Let
Maybe-
them do surgeries.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, right? But
But back to your question, man, are Singaporeans paid enough? You like digress one whole circle, bro.
we went.
No, we went robot surgeries.
Yeah.
Johnson brought it to robot surgery.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I got ADHD, so I'm sorry, man.
so yeah, you need to answer your own question, man. What do you think?
I paid enough. I think I paid enough.
You're paying enough, sir.
No, as in, unfortunately, I think the rest of us are paid equally enough.
Ow.
Yes. Honestly, I think healthcare wise, Medicare wise, everything wise, I think we are paid equally. I mean, we want obviously more. That's
Yep.
obviously the dream, right?
Yep.
We want, obviously want more.
That's a bad dream. Contentment.
Tyler said that.
Satisfaction. I think more is not. You guys are talking like Americans. Capitalism.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're not.
More
We're
is
not.
the dream. More is not the dream.
Yeah.
No, but
Balance.
I'm thinking about Singaporean wise, right? Like, dude, like, I feel like if you have parents working for you right now, still working, then I think it's okay. Yeah, parents not working, they're retired, then sure. It's case by case basis, honestly, because I know friends who parents are cleaners, father and mother, by the way. The son is a data scientist. He's still work. So to me, it's very simple. It's like it really depends on the circumstance. Yeah. So to me, it's whether you need to work or not, whether government needs to increase or not. It's basically meritocracy, ma. Yeah.
Is a what again?
Meritocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say that because my brother's in jail. So I understand that. I really do. I really do. Don't laugh. I really do. He's laughing. He's laughing. Oh my god, what's going on? Wow.
Camera later.
Wow. Off camera.
No, we'll get him
I
later.
said my brother's in jail. He laugh. Wow.
He just has the smiley face, lah.
I think so.
Is he like
He's my
calling?
intern.
Is he calling out and make a rap album or something?
Fine, next day.
Yeah,
No,
like Snoop,
I'm just kidding.
like Snoop.
But like, you know what I mean? It's really meritocracy, ma. You know what I mean? I really feel so because you can't tell me I'm privileged because I'm not. I live in Yishun, plus in jail. Like I feel it's really.
Yishun's getting all the memes, man.
Dude, I love Yishun, dude. Yishun is the capital of Singapore. It is.
Some might say.
No, not some. A lot. Actually.
It's more like a ghetto.
That's what a lot of people say. Yeah.
Privilege considering the world.
Yeah.
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 But
Because
Yishun is the capital of Singapore. So.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean.
the
it
what?
is.
What? The what?
Capital of Singapore.
The Yishun, according to Johnson, 2024.
Do a Tanglin
Circa
Gin
2024.
special.
Yeah.
Circa. Wow.
Yeah. But-
Okay.
I mean, when you look at overseas, right? Like
Mm.
like I have as often, my job every day is to look at the worldwide forecast, and every day I see, oh, this place got volcano, then the plane cannot fly there. That place got Hurricane Milton, and then Hurricane Helena. Then after followed by Hurricane Milton, and then Singapore is just like we are so safe until it's boring.
Peaceful.
Yeah,
Crickets.
and I guess we are like taking it for granted lah. So I think we are better off than a lot of countries, but
No, we are.
obviously we are, when we are in our own bubble, we are constantly feeling that hey, it's not enough, and who can blame us, right? The standard of living in Singapore is so ridiculously high. I think we are number one, yeah. in the world.
Definitely.
We are.
We are number one, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a period where Tel Aviv was number one because of the war, probably. But realistically, we are number one, and it's actually not a good thing to win.
No.
Yeah.
You asked me where I'm gonna end up.
Yeah.
It can't be Singapore.
Yeah.
Can't afford it.
No, if
Want to go Vietnam?
Vietnam,
Vietnam is
Thailand, where
I
else?
think
Yeah.
those would be the places. I think Cambodia is not happening enough for me. So I need a little. I need the city.
I need some.
I'm a city person.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
What about you?
What's the question?
Where are you gonna end
Where
up?
do we be in 5 years time? Where's Leonard in 5 years time?
5 years, 15 years.
No, 5.
We're
Because
the same age. All right.
no, because 15
Okay.
is 5 anyway.
Wait, how old are you?
I am 34 and a half.
I thought you said you were my age.
No, I'm not.
You're a decade younger than me.
Yeah, I'm a decade younger than you.
All right.
Okay.
Different gen.
Don't say 5 years. 10 years minimum.
Okay, yeah, let's go. What's up?
What's happening with my
What's
10
next?
years?
Yeah, I mean, let's go.
Actually, a lot of people say that they want to move out of Singapore.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
Everyone wants to, so.
but actually, I feel that staying in Singapore is the best policy.
Mm.
Yeah, because if you look at the trend, right, you look at a lot of like Hollywood stars like Jet Li, like Tiffany from SNSD or Gong Li or whatever, right?
Right.
They are all converting to Singaporean citizen.
Okay.
Yeah, and for a reason, right? Because Singapore is going to be the new financial hub, I believe. And, you know, with the destabilization of the EU and with Ukraine war, right? Switzerland is no longer Switzerland. The new Switzerland is Singapore because China is dumping their money here. That's what I believe. And it's really the new financial hub, you know. So probably I can, you know, have other HQ in other countries like Vietnam or Taiwan, or if it still exists, or maybe Korea. But the main HQ will still be in Singapore. Yeah, have to be lah, because it's really, you know, very stable politically and financially lah. And you know, the government won't suddenly just tell you one day, hey, you know, now your business is my business.
True.
Yeah, some countries they can just tell you, hey, by the way, tomorrow Tanglin Gin is mine. Then you're just like, what?
I mean, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Business, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's every single household gets a Tanglin Gin.
But probably not, bro.
If they're paying for it.
Oh, yeah.
They
have to, sir. They have to.
no, they're gonna rob you of your company, dude.
I mean,
No, he's saying they take the company.
oh!
You're thinking. That
No, they're not gonna give you a compensation, bro.
Oh!
They're like, now it's mine.
Alright, bro.
Wait, Johnson for president.
Yeah.
Is the vote now?
Yeah.
I mean, damn. Okay.
Yeah, also I
I
think.
rebuke.
Yeah. Huh? What?
I rebuke.
Rebuke what?
They say
The cause.
I thought you were like, I'm not you.
Rebuke. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, cool. Sure.
Okay, great. I think today is a super long conversation. Let's end it here.
Wait, one more.
Great.
Nemo needs to go in there and answer one question. Because I think for your podcast to have like
The
answer-
different generation
Yeah,
coming
that's
in.
what I'm saying. So Nemo, just go in there. If you could just ask him.
This is the most
Nemo is my
spontaneous
intern.
ass
Yeah.
podcast I've
Nemo is my
ever.
turn. Nemo is my turn.
Welcome to Tanglin. Welcome to Tanglin.
Tanglin,
This
okay.
is how we do
Come
it.
here right now. Come.
This feels like the Lex Friedman podcast with the whole entire team.
Nemo is my intern. No, Nemo is my intern, and I fired him because I saw his face and I was like, yeah,
I
this
would
one.
like to- I
Yeah,
have a
make it.
statement to end with.
Come here.
If you don't mind, I have one statement to end with.
I don't
Oh my
know.
god, I need my
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nemo. Remember Tanglin branding.
Yeah, you can ask him anything.
Unhinged. Crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Go
just
crazy.
no, just yourself.
Okay, I have a question. So how old are you this year?
19 this year.
Okay, so according to them, right,
Yeah.
Gen Zs don't give a fuck.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
all about the vibes. If the vibe is not there, they leave the company. So how do you strive to be a good employee to your company? Or you just do whatever you want?
I just do what I can do, you know what I mean? Like, whatever I can offer, I just try my best to offer. But like, whatever I can't, I just like, alright, I can't do this, you know?
Damn.
I mean, it's just,
You know that actually is very mind-blowing for, especially, I believe Tyler, you feel me?
Yeah.
Just like work to your
Yeah.
strengths, right? Like Johnson,
Dude,
I told Johnson.
remember the time when we were still young and we were intern and they gave us something that we cannot do? We still need to say that we know how to do it. And we need to fuck around and figure out, man. We have to figure out.
I mean, it's just like honesty, right? Like if I really cannot do this, then I was like, okay, I can't do this. Then I was just like, I'll tell Johnson like, yo, this is like really out of my ability. Like, and he'll be like, okay, okay, yeah. I mean, like poly and like uni students, right? That's like big difference. I mean, it's just facts, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know something, then it just basically stops there, or you kind of find a way around it. Or
It'll be like, all right, then that's what you need to work on, Yeah. Like
Johnson need to work on.
like no, I need to work on. I need to work on. Please help me. He's gonna murder me after this podcast. Like, I don't think you understand. He's gonna kill me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
I'll kill afterwards.
Good.
For the podcast only lah. He said like that.
Yeah. So
Please help.
I believe like at the end of the day, right, for a company to or any relationship to be sustainable, right, you have to be able to have a certain degree of being able to speak your heart out, lah. If not, you cannot last long. And at the end of the day, you know, a team is like we are in this battle together. You know, every day is a struggle to meet KPIs, to meet objectives, and we still cannot bear our hearts to each other. I think the company probably cannot continue on.
That's why we work to our strengths. Yeah.
Work to your strengths.
Yeah.
So okay, so what are all your strengths? Can you highlight?
I think I'm very creative, but like I think I go a bit too far, and then that's where like I need someone to ground me, you know. And that's like where Johnson and the other interns like yo, calm down. Yeah, but like
Yeah. Correct. I know the creative types, because creativity and ops is sometimes like counterintuitive, right? Yeah. So great, man. Have you here with us so spontaneously, gonna sabo by your bosses? What the fuck?
No.
Okay, what?
No, he's not happy. He's not happy with his haircut.
Yeah.
Nemo, can you show your haircut?
No.
Yeah. We don't have to. Okay. We don't have to.
I'll wrap this up. No,
Yeah. Everybody is getting fully turned up right now.
no, I think.
I am like fucking turned up.
I think one more. I think one more.
Hey, you realize I haven't even go toilet yet?
Nemo, I need a little bit more Negroni here.
Yeah,
And,
he's
yeah,
Maybe top up the
he's
same thing. Yeah, top up the same thing.
ISO.
What the hell is happening?
we can wrap this up. I got some closing words I want to say.
Yes.
Before I was like, I don't think I can go an hour. And then now we're like,
3 hours easy, man.
here we go.
Yeah.
And more to say.
Because I actually have done this interview style a lot of times. Even before my own revelry. I did it for Zook actually, and it's called Zook TV.
Damn.
Way back. I was doing it with Showtech, San Holo, and everybody. But then the thing is, it's very okay. I have 10 questions prepared, and then we will talk in a very robotic way, and then it feels very unnatural, you know.
No, but you have a skill in this, right?
I mean,
so no, you do. So you gotta go with it. You really gotta go with it. Cause I go through many of your interviews. You're able to pick up on stuff and go with it.
Yeah.
Like, which is a talent that I think is really.
I just want to say, right, based on the people that used to work with me, right, I was so horrible that they are like calling me out. I have no emceeing skills. I cannot interview for nuts. And I guess it just takes a lot of takes. I
want the Negroni, sir.
Yeah.
You're getting it.
Give me, no, I don't want whatever you're giving me. Give me something else.
Yeah, so it's a very long journey. Not only 2 years of Revelry podcast, but 5 years prior during Zook, during my own free time. Yeah, there's so many of this kind of thing going on. And then I just realized that the best way moving forward is just like a casual conversation, catch up with friends kind of vibe. Yeah. Because,
no, that's the vibe.
Yeah. At the end of the day, actually, I realized one thing is that I don't prefer to interview people that are too young because 90% of them, right, are super glued to their phones and super short form content, right? So they cannot even sustain a half an hour conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. And you also need to have a certain age where you lived enough experience to share.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Otherwise, it's just like observation from afar, right?
yeah.
Whatever, like, oh yeah, I saw this thing and whatever it is. The reason I wanted to put those guys on is that I really believe in that, like, bringing everybody in the group on some. So Johnson said a word, but I thought he said ideatocracy.
Ideatocracy,
which is my like mission on any company. And the ideatocracy basically says is that the truest and the rightest opinion wins, right? Like a statement wins, no matter who says it, right? And so this is something that I've adopted into the company, in that when we have conversations, we base it on evidence.
Right.
So it's not like you're the boss or I say something and then people are like, yeah, well done. It's like, if you agree with it and it's based on evidence, then it's legit. And so I thought Johnson said that, which he didn't, but it's very much in where I want to go with any company, is that ideatocracy, is that's the winner. It's not a democracy. It's not a dictatorship. It's not anything in between. Of course, as a boss, I have the gauntlet to say yes or no to things if I need to. But what would be the purpose of that? If I just, you move people, you don't motivate them, right? Is the difference. I tell you to do something, you report to me, you have to do it, right? But that's different than me talking to you about something that needs to be done and you feeling motivated intrinsically to go do it. That's what I want, because that's something that comes from you and you understand and like you want to do those things. So this whole idea thing is, I wouldn't say it's Western, but it's like neither here nor there. It's just like kind of lives somewhere. To bring that into the team is very different and difficult, but I think people get it. And then it's not about how well you argue it. It's like, what is the evidence on what you want to say? And like, that's the way to move forward. I think with anything, in any conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. But the problem is what I used to have with a team, right, is that when I'm the boss and then people disagree, I have the evidence to prove it, right? But thank you. Yeah. Even I have the evidence to prove it, but
yeah, we got
what?
Not a shot, but a nice sip of the GPSS.
I have shots,
sir,
inside the box.
Shot glasses.
Shot glasses inside the
can you
box.
put that in a shot glass. Thank you. What is this, Nemo?
Gin and Sonic.
Okay.
Sonic.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sonic.
Sonic.
It's like Supersonic. You know that song?
Yeah. So, wow, I lost my
Sorry,
train
I
of
threw you
thought.
off on that, and the guys came in.
Yeah.
We were talking about ideatocracy. And
Yes, correct. So when you run a team and then you're the boss, right? You have you have an idea or someone has an idea, and then like maybe you and another co-worker has an idea, and then it's very evidence backed. But then another group of employees, right? They are just basically based on their emotions, based on their feelings, and then they decide that, oh, that is a good idea, and then all of them are like ganging up to disagree with you. And then you as the boss, even though you have the gauntlet to say no or yes to the final decision, right? But a lot of times, all these people will try to oppose you just because probably they don't like you or they don't like your idea, even though it's evidence-backed, right? How would you handle that?
Well, am I the boss?
Yeah.
Well, I would go back to the concept and like remind people that this is what it's about. And I think in that kind of gauntlet of the best idea comes out. So it has to be the best idea. So people and they gang up and they click up and whatever it is. Usually I try to stomp that out before it gets to that point. But say they come back with another idea. Essentially the concept is the best idea rises to the top. So if their idea is the best idea, that's what will be adopted. If it's not based on evidence, which is data and many other factors, then it won't be. And then it goes below. And the argument can't be, well, I'm the head of, or I know best.
Right.
But you do need a process, and if it's split, right, you do need the ultimate decision maker that can go against what was decided or with what was decided, but they need to explain themselves. And if the boss keeps trumping what comes up, then that's going to cause friction and maybe demonstrate that it's either the wrong boss or the wrong people that you have on the team. So everybody keeps each other in check. You have to be accountable.
Yeah.
If somebody is not accountable, and you will see this in companies, if they own it or are backed by the owner, they're not accountable. There is no checks and balances. So they just do what they feel or what they want. And so that's the problem. And so to keep people in check, you need to be accountable for all these steps. And the best idea should reign true, not because you're the head of anything or anything like that. And so that's what I do at Tanglin, is that, all right, what are the ideas that want to go around, and and talk about it and discuss it and debate it, and then move on. Yeah.
It's very like grassroots level. But
Yeah.
you can't do it with a big company, right?
I think you can.
Maybe
I think it's difficult.
manager, different levels.
I mean, it's very difficult, very hard, but I think the right way to do it, you look at like a finance company like Bridgewater. Bridgewater did it. They basically like invented their own system on how to come up with solutions and ideas. And so they started small and built it up. So it's possible, but leadership comes from the top, and everybody should sign up for it. And if it doesn't, then the people dictate what the culture is. And to me, like, culture is king. Like that's the most important thing. Without that in place, nothing will happen. It doesn't matter. Like, people kind of move and come as the tide comes, but nothing substantial will happen.
Yeah, because I think the work itself is already very difficult, and you definitely need a team to power through the difficulty. And if the team cannot gel with each other, right, then no work can or could be possibly be done.
That's right.
Yeah, and then everything is just the end. No people, no work. Unless a bunch of AIs and robots start replacing us.
Which they might.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about, like, a lot of the culture books that I read go back to sports, which is like a greater purpose and like a brotherhood of people moving towards a goal.
Yep.
I never say it's a family. It's obviously not.
Yes.
A family will not desert you. A family will always be there. A family typically doesn't exchange money for favors and stuff like this. But it is a team.
Yes.
And so if you go back to team and sports are closely related.
Yeah.
And so how do you get people excited and into what you're trying to achieve? I think it does boil down to sports.
Yes.
In some aspects. You don't want to go too extreme on people going crazy or just like a cult-like atmosphere, but you do want it to be something for a greater purpose for everybody that's involved.
Yep.
And so, I mean, Johnson will attest to this. I always say, like, in 2 years, you will not be doing the same thing.
Yes.
And by that, I mean, you will be progressing. The reality of that is you will be progressing in the company or out of the company.
Yep.
But you will not maintain the everyday what you're doing now.
But there are some people that do that though.
That's right.
They're called the survivors.
Yeah. Well, in my company.
No, life first.
What's lifers?
Life first is those who have been here for.
Like company lifers.
Damn wrong.
So some people love this, some people hate it. And so it's not for everybody in every company, but for the ones I've worked in for the last couple, it does apply. And so if you just want to do the bare minimum and check in, check out, if you're working with me or under me or whatever it is, it's not going to work out because you're not growing, you're not pushing yourself, you're not progressing.
Yeah, and you're very interactive with your employees.
Have to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they cannot be stagnant.
Well, I say it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I also say, if this is not for you, I will help you find something that is for you.
Right.
So I'll put in that reference. I'll put in that recommendation. I understand that this isn't for everybody. But where we are now, and I said this at Zook, I said it at Little Farms, I said it at Tanglin. Like, I want people that want to progress and develop and make moves to the future. And hopefully the company grows with them, or they grow out of the company. And that's not for them. That's okay. But you can't be doing the same thing. Talk about experience. What is experience? If somebody works the same job for 10 years, right? Versus somebody that works that same job for 2 years and then levels up. Who reflected on that time? If the person for 10 years never reflected, never really learned anything, it's less so than the person who in 2 years reflected, learned, and then developed. And so that's what experience is. It's time and reflection. Time without reflection is no experience. Somebody did a job for 20 years. They never, assuming it's not like a doctor or engineer, they never grew on that. They never developed. They don't know as much as the person who developed on that. So in my line of work, which is not like the crucial things that you need to study for 10 years, you need to keep leveling up. And so that's really what it equates to. Same with anything, even DJing. Like, if you're just like doing the same scratch, you got that scratch. Like, did you now learn from that and then do something else? Whatever.
I mean, it's the same as like violin or piano, right? When they talk about practicing, it's like conscious practice and versus like, mindless. Yeah, you actually get more out of conscious practice, but then conscious practice takes conscious effort, which means you can only do it for a certain amount of period before you're like, your brain's like shagged, you're too tired to continue. And then you have to like take a break before you go to the next level. And in that sense, you might take a shorter time to gain more experience as compared to like a 10-year lifer, Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You journal?
Wow.
I do actually.
No. Like I
actually
bring this up,
but in a very weird way. My journal is in a list of to-do list of daily tasks.
So you daily tasks.
Yeah. So it's basically my life story. I can like look back and like I can remember days
until you journal.
Yeah. I can like pinpoint, like especially when I travel.
No. So you write a to-do list.
Yeah, especially when I travel, I write down like what I do, how much I spend, and then I can remember back in the day what I do, But it's not a very conventional journal like, today what I feel, but it's more like what actually happened.
That?
Because I don't feel, that's the problem. I'm very
you don't feel.
I'm very unexpressive with my emotions. I'm very logical. I'm very Yeah, that's the thing. That's what a lot of people say about me, that I realize I'm way too logical and I have problems like conveying my emotions to the point like sometimes I feel frustrated but I'm stuck.
Well, it's not that you don't have the emotions. It's just how you convey it, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So conveying it is in the journaling to yourself.
Maybe, but I also don't even know how to write. I don't even know what words to use, Yeah.
Well, because conveying it goes to the general public, right? That's usually where the breakdown of communication happens, right? Like they have something that affects them, they don't want to do it, or they don't know how to say it, they don't want to be bothered, or they don't care, or it doesn't come across. But journaling is for you, right? And so like if you journal and you do it for you, it's a message to yourself. I don't even know how to communicate with yourself.
Have you heard of Marcus Aurelius? He has this self-journal that was released. Marcus Aurelius, I think he's like one of the Roman kings or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds very like gladiator.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at Johnson for the answer. I know he doesn't have it.
So his self-journal to self, I forget what's it's like, I don't know what's it's like a one word, like the memoir or something. No, I haven't even started yet. Dude.
He's still working. No, but he wrote it to himself.
And then it was like published. And people saw a lot of his thought process, and it's like one of the best-selling books till this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
I think maybe you can have a lot of more insights when you're talking to yourself as compared to talking to others.
I tell you what, like the mind goes on a process way faster than how we speak, way faster than how we write. And when you write it down, it slows it down and it puts it in straight language that I think humans need to see, especially as we develop into technology. And so that's the benefit of it. And I poo-pooed the idea for so long because I was like, I'm not a teenage girl who needs to write down her feelings or anything, right? Like that's the idea previously behind it. But it's what you make of it and what you define of it. And any of that is valuable. And so you start documenting things that are important and then how it goes. And for me, it's slowed things down and put things in perspective that I could not otherwise do solo or in my head.
One thing I realized about writing, I don't really journal in the traditional, conventional sense, right? But I do to-do lists, and then I can kind of like pick up on residual like feelings that I was feeling back then. And then like maybe 3 months later, then I was like asking myself, why was I even angry at this point? Something like that. And then I reflect after the point, then it's like, actually, this particular situation doesn't warrant such a strong reaction. And then I was like, telling myself, why did I feel that way back then? So probably a lot of like things, external influences. Yeah.
So you reflected way later.
Yeah, like Captain Hindsight,
No, you gotta go daily. Last thing I want to talk about, and I don't think Johnson's heard it. Okay, I know we've been going forever. Have you ever talked to a professional coach?
Not yet, actually. My company offers free counseling.
Okay, let me tell you about a game changer. At Zook, certain people were offered a professional coach. I took it. It was one of the best things ever. And it was a guy who ex-Microsoft, high up, actually reported into Bill.
He came down to give the coaching?
No, like we do a one-to-one. We'd meet at Starbucks. And he was an author, Singaporean, Asian, like had worked in multiple companies. Like I started, so I don't know how it came about exactly, but I think at one point the CEO was like, you can do this. And I was like, all right, I'm curious. And I did it. And that took me on a journey because then I read his book. Then I read the books he recommended. Then I like really dove into, okay, what does it mean to manage and any of these aspects. He was so helpful in it. And I haven't looked back. And so like that was like a professional coach, but technically my first mentor in a way, right? Paid mentor, but one that I was like, oh, I'm learning from you and, I'm growing. That was, I'd recommend that to anybody I ever talk to. If it's 500 a session, worth it. Even for one session, do it.
Isn't that like a podcast?
It's kind of like a podcast
without the cameras.
No, but I think it's a heightened experience and somebody. He's had a mentor, but not a professional coach. Nemo has
a mentor.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's different when it's on that level. So
what is one example that you can give us that he blew your mind, give you the revelation that you needed?
Yeah,
do you have an example that you can reveal to us, or everything is P and C?
No, it's not. So when I was talking to him, keep in mind the CEO, the every C level was talking to him, so he knew the company, he knew the people. He talked to me about a concept above the line, and this was something that I have adopted in my own way. And he's like, above the line is accountability. It's not excuses. It's how can I improve? How can I make myself better to make the situation better? Below the line is the blame, the excuses, the pointing of the fingers, And so he's like, people go above and beyond like the line, but you need to go above. And so then I was like, that is a good way to think about it. How did you hear about that? Then he'd recommend a book, then I'd read the book and then go through it and then come up with my own concepts. And so that's one example of corporate life, of being above the line than below the line.
How do you apply it in real life, like being above the line?
Yeah, take accountability.
So if something goes wrong, and even if it's not your fault, you take
Have to.
Take the accountability.
Yeah, and I think maybe not now, but these guys at some point would believe in accountability. I talk about it. I talk about so my agreements, right? Like for people that work for me, one is be impeccable with your word. So say what you mean in a respectable way, direct with respect. Don't take things personal. Tough one. Usually people take things personal.
Yep.
Don't make assumptions, meaning ask questions. What did you mean by that? And then the fourth is do your best.
Yep.
And so I think those are core to any issue that come up with work.